159 games have been played in the shadow of the Statue of Liberty. The Mets at one time had a 7-game lead, but the season starts from scratch tonight. Everybody's upbeat, almost as though nothing had happened to this point. Just play 3 games, win them all, and at worst, you end up in a 1-game playoff on Monday. So, going to work as though nothing had happened, the Mets will play the final 3 games of the season here at Shea Stadium, hoping a little fellowship and a little good time on the baseball field will lead to some wins. At Shea Stadium in New York, the New York Mets play the Florida Marlins. This Mets game on SNY is presented in high definition by IO Digital Cable, the leader in HD. Do you see in HD? Well, for 134 days, the Mets were alone in first place. They're alone in first place no more, now tied for the lead with the on-rushing Philadelphia Phillies. And a pleasant good evening, everybody, and welcome to Shea Stadium. Gary Cohen, Ron Darling, Keith Hernandez with you tonight as the Mets begin the final weekend of the season. And just like everybody else in the National League, the Mets have not had their fate decided. No races, in fact, have been decided. We have a chance for 4 teams to wind up with the best record in the National League, or at least a tie for the East, West, and wild card. So everything's up in the air, and the Mets are starting from scratch. Now the question is, does the fact that the Mets blew a 7-game lead to get to this point affect them coming down to these final 3 games?
Well, we'll see. It has to all be played. That's why they play the games. Philadelphia obviously has the momentum. They're the ones that have been charging and have been on the next backs. And now it's even, and it's come to this, 3 ball games. And it looks like right now that we're going to have a big crowd here at Shea. The Mets players just came out to do their warm-ups, and they were cheered mightily by the hometown fans, something that's been missing the last 3 or 4 games here at Shea. So a crowd support tonight. The Met fans seem to be into it. The Mets have to break this losing streak. They have to win the ball game and stay in this. I think it's going to go down to Sunday, and we'll see who wins 2 out of 3 in a series.
Well, the Mets are 0-4 on this homestand. They've lost their last 7 home games. They've lost 10 of their last 14 overall. All the signs have been pointing down, but all the Mets after the game last night were still putting up a very brave front.
This team's got a lot of character. This team's got a lot of personality, and nobody in here is going to just roll over and start making off-season plans quite yet.
What we need to do is just go out and play the game. You know, don't try to force things. You know, don't try to do too much and try to do this. You know, just go out and play the game, have fun. The same game that we always have played.
I've been in worse situations than this, but I don't know about the rest of the team. And I'm hoping that they just maintain, you know, their focus and keep their concentration going, you know, along with the way they play the game. I hope that they realize, or we realize as a team what we're doing wrong and, you know, the things that we have to do and the things that we need to do to actually get back on track. So I hope we realize it and realize it soon before it's too late.
Well, Pedro certainly did his job last night with 7 strong innings. Tonight, the task of holding the Florida Marlins down goes to Oliver Perez, who did just that last Saturday in Florida.
Well, he really did. Just an outstanding game. The great thing I liked about it, 8 innings, 2 runs, only one of them earned, but the big stat was no walks. That really has been his problem when he's had a bad game. He's walking hitters. He's been the best pitcher for the Mets in the second half, 8-3 after the All-Star break. So when you watch him pitch, he pitched that 7th game last year of the World Series, went right after, not the World Series, division playoff, went right after those St. Louis Cardinals with that great fastball. They're going to need Perez to be aggressive today, especially early in this game.
One thing about Oliver Perez that I think some people may not realize as you look at his numbers from that Game 7 start on the LCS last year, he has tremendous confidence in himself. He truly believes he is an ace pitcher.
Well, you hear a lot of pitchers say they want that stage. Well, I'll tell you, Oliver Perez does want that stage. He feels like he's an ace kind of pitcher, and he gets a chance to prove it tonight.
Well, the Mets and the Marlins open a 3-game series here at Shea. Meanwhile, the Phillies open a 3-game series at home against the Washington Nationals. The race is dead even with 3 to play. The rain has passed. The game will start just a few minutes late. It's coming up on SNY. By Hummer. Visit Hummer.com to check out the H3 Hummer like nothing else. By Barbados, proud sponsor of the New York Mets. Experience the authentic Caribbean. By Ford and your tri-state Ford dealers. By Citi, let's get it done. By Audi, truth in engineering. And by IO Digital Cable, the leaders in HD and presenting sponsor of the Mets in high definition. Do you see in HD? This year, when you can't be home to watch your Mets on SNY or CW11, check out MLB.tv. Watch every out-of-market Mets game of the season live. Catch those you missed on demand, or listen to every radio broadcast. Sign up today. Visit Mets.com, where baseball is always on. Final weekend of the season, Jeep around the majors. The incredible Colorado Rockies got a homer and 4 RBIs from Brad Hopp last night. They've won 11 in a row. They're a game back in the wild card, 2 back in the West, and they play the West-leading Diamondbacks 3 games starting tonight. The Padres kept pace, won their 3rd in a row as they beat Milwaukee last night, and that kept the Brewers 2 games behind the slumping Cubs. And you saw that Cole Hamels will go for the Phillies. That game is underway tonight. Washington at Philadelphia, with Tim Redding on the mound representing the Mets but pitching for the Washington Nationals.
Well, Cole Hamels is on a 90-pitch limit in Philadelphia, and in Arizona and Colorado, Brandon Webb against Jeff Francis.
Mets in their traditional uniforms tonight, blue caps and pinstripes, trying to change the vibe, trying to get back to a winning way. 4 games on this homestand, 4 disheartening losses, and a 7-game lead gone in the National League East. Now the Mets will try and change their fortunes on the final weekend. First of 3 with the Marlins. First pitch coming right up here on SNY. Well, if that doesn't inspire this bunch, nothing will. And I'll tell you what, the crowd is ready for this one.
That 86 highlight got me going. Too bad I'm useless.
Well, here's your race to the playoffs. Nothing has been decided. And if you look at the records, Mets, Phillies, Diamondbacks, Padres, Rockies, all within 2 games of each other, and there's at least the chance of a 4-way tie for the East, West, and wild card, while the Central plays out separately.
Well, just amazing to look at this. You know, they frittered away the lead, but that's all right. It's over with. 3-game series. Go get them. Good chance to turn this craziness, this awfulness, into something positive.
Well, I think the crowd is here, Gare, tonight. It's been disappeared the last 3 games. There's a lot more buzz in the stadium that like there should be. I mean, this is the last 3 games of the season. This is for the shooting match.
And now it's not about hanging on anymore, and now it's about winning on your own. It's not about hanging on to the lead because there's no more lead to hang on to, and that kind of changes the focus for everybody.
It's almost like the fans have been rejuvenated also, because if the lead's gone and they feel now they can play a real big part in getting it going. Fix this, yeah.
That's a great banner, isn't it? I liked what David Wright said last night. He said, it doesn't matter how we got here.
You're here.
Here we are. It's a 3-game season. And there are a lot of smiles around, and at least they're trying to convince themselves that they're loose, whether they are or not. But I'll tell you what, scoring early tonight should really help this team, especially the way they played offensively the last game and a half.
They cannot let Byung-Hyun Kim get deep into this game, even go 4 or 5 innings, because he's the kind of pitcher that this Met team, with that sinker away, the guys like Carlos Delgado with the ball down, it should be no contest.
Well, with the Mets lineup, with the switch hitters and the left-handers, Kim has trouble with them. It's a good matchup for the Mets here. They need to get out in front and put the hammer down, and hopefully you look up on the scoreboard and you got the Phillies losing.
And the Mets will hope that Oliver Perez can do to the Florida Marlins what he did last Saturday. 8 tremendous innings in that game and a 7-2 win. Mets and Marlins first of 3 on the final weekend. First pitch coming up. In 2007, Hyundai, the Mets, and SNY are teaming up to strike out cancer. For every K the Mets pitching staff registers, Hyundai, the Mets, and SNY will make a donation to the Hope and Heroes Children's Cancer Fund. If you'd like to help, please go to www.hopeandheroes.org. It is truly stunning, the difference between this crowd tonight and the 4 weeknight crowds we had the last 4 nights. They are absolutely pumped and ready to go, as though this were a postseason game, which really, if you think about things, this is the first best-of-3 series for the Mets, although they have to follow one out of town as well heading into the postseason.
So they'll have to win 14 to go.
Yeah. Well, I think as exciting as it is, you know, the hometown fans didn't want the Mets in this position how they got here, but how exciting can it get when you've got 2 teams playing at the same time, just 2 hours apart, got the scoreboard watching, you got 3 games left in the season, and let's see who comes out on top.
This is only the 5th time in Mets history that they've come down to the final weekend, not yet knowing what their fate is. The last time was in 1999. The Mets had lost 7 out of 8 going into the final weekend and were 2 behind in the wild card race with 3 to play. They swept the Pirates that weekend, while the Reds were beaten 2 out of 3 by Milwaukee, wound up tied for the wild card lead, and then went to Cincinnati the day after the season ended. Al Leiter pitched a shutout, and the Mets beat the Reds and went on to the division series where they beat Arizona. So that was a thrilling finish to a season where the Mets had to come from behind on the final weekend. Here, they're even going into the final weekend. There are some of the things that are going on elsewhere. They're in the bottom of the first in Philly with no score. Cole Hamels against Tim Redding. The matchup of the aces in Colorado, where the Rockies try and win their 12th in a row, but they have to do it against Brandon Webb, who was bumped from his start yesterday with 17-game winner Jeff Francis on the mound. And how about the Milwaukee Brewers? They've blown 2 opportunities the last 2 nights to gain ground on the Cubs. Now they're 2 behind with 3 to play, and they've got to roll out Chris Capuano and his long losing streak.
He hasn't won since he started the season, 5-0.
Meanwhile, the Cubs are underway in Cincinnati, and Alfonso Soriano led off the game with a home run against Bronson Arroyo. And so the Cubs are out to a quick 1-0 lead, and they'll have their ace, Carlos Zambrano, going tonight, trying to move them to a possible clincher tonight if they win and Milwaukee loses.
And they needed that after being swept by this team in town right now, the Florida Marlins.
And that is really amazing when you think about it. In fact, the Marlins have beaten the Cubs now 10 straight times. I think it's the Dontrelle Willis factor.
That's
the
right.
Cubs traded Dontrelle to the Marlins, and it's almost as though they've hardly been able to beat them since.
And I think it's important to note the umpiring crew right there. The same crew that was in Philadelphia with the controversial interference call on Marlon Anderson that ended the game. C.B. Buckner, Joe West, and here come the Mets.
Well, they won't be able to make the same call tonight because Marlon is still under suspension tonight. He won't be back until tomorrow. But Oliver Perez, he knows about pitching in big games. He was on this very mound for Game 7 last October against the Cardinals and pitched brilliantly on that day. And this is the Ford starting lineup they'll face tonight. Josh Willingham still out of the lineup for the Marlins with a bad back, but Cody Ross, who's been out with a hamstring, is back in for the first time since he hurt that last weekend against the Mets. The big bats of Ramirez and Cabrera. This is a Marlin lineup that can score a lot of runs. They've already set a club record for home runs, a club record for runs scored. Perez faces them for the second straight start.
And you look at all those numbers. Batting average against, 226. That's 5th in the league. 332 earned run average. That's 7th. 15 wins, tied for 8th. 8.8 strikeouts per 9 innings. Second in baseball, second in the National League, behind Jake Peavy.
At 26 years old, Perez has already established a career high with 15 wins. He'll go for 16 tonight.
And the Lexus Mets defense, it's the same one they had out there last night. Going to the whip. John Green in right, Beltran center, Lou right, Reyes, Castillo, Delgado, and LaDuca behind the plate.
The one surprise there, small surprise, is that Ramon Castro is not in the lineup. Remember, Castro caught Perez last Saturday and hit a 3-run homer against tonight's Marlins starter, Byung-Hyun Kim.
I think that Willie feels like he's in the playoffs. Right now, when you're in the playoffs, you go with your starting lineup. But Castro, not only with the home run, but catching a pitcher with such a fine effort, that's going to be missed.
Well, I think if you take LaDuca out of the lineup, you're going to have to get in a fist fight with him.
Yeah.
And I asked Willie about it. I said, did you give you any consideration? He said, none at all. He said, I'm going with my best guys, and that's what he's doing here tonight with Oliver Perez, who's been his best starter coming down the stretch. That's what he did last Saturday against Florida. He threw just 102 pitches in 8 innings. And Perez is 5-1 over his last 7 starts, 2.9 ERA. He has responded very well to the late season pressure, while some of his teammates have not.
Well, it'll be very curious to see how the Marlin lineup adjusts to the last start of Perez with that strong 8 innings against them. See if they lay off that down slider and that high fastball.
And I'll tell you, this young man, last time he was here, there's Matt Dillon, big Met fan. New Yorker, great actor, of course.
Good guy.
Nice lefty, little lefty jump shot. I used to play basketball with him a lot. Great guy.
And he got a great seat, too, in those postseason boxes. Hanley Ramirez, first pitch swinging, flies to center field. Beltran is there, 1 pitch and 1 out. So Hanley Ramirez, who has 209 hits this year, tying him for the league lead, attacks the first pitch from Perez, 91-mile-an-hour fastball, and Perez has the first out. 12-minute rain delay at the start before we get underway at 7:22. Of course, Mets and Marlins know about rain delays. They had a almost 2.5-hour one a week ago tonight down in Miami. Here's Dan Uggla, 31 home runs and tied for the league lead with 48 doubles. And he takes inside, ball one.
Well, the Marlins don't have the greatest of defenses. They can slug with you. They've got some power and pop. And this guy right here, 31 home runs on the year, along with the leadoff hitter Ramirez with 29.
And Uggla takes high, and Perez behind 2-0. Oliver did not walk a batter in his last start. It was the 6th time this season that he has not walked a batter in a start. In his entire career before this season, he had only had 4 games in which he hadn't walked a batter. But here is behind Uggla, 3-0. Second batter of the game with Jeremy Hermida on deck.
Are those Metsies in their old uniforms, the old pinstripes?
Charlie Samuels rolled out the traditional garb tonight. 3-0 to Uggla, and he takes it all the way, a strike. Ed Hickok's calling the balls and strikes tonight. Jeremy Hermida on deck. He's been the number 3 hitter for the last few weeks, with Miguel Cabrera hitting cleanup. 3-1 to Uggla, and he walked him. So Perez, after not walking a batter in his last start, walks the second man to face him tonight.
Well, this is the one thing, Ronnie, I think that you got to watch with Perez. He can tend to lose it and get out of the strike zone big like that. He wasn't even close on those 5 pitches right there.
Hermida has been tearing it up since the All-Star break. See, 327 in September, 340 since the All-Star break. After a very slow start to his season because of injury, and even with the lefty on the mound, he's hitting third tonight. And he takes the 94-mile-an-hour fastball inside, and Leduca's immediately going to take it back to Perez.
It's pretty interesting that Hermida last year, that's who they considered was going to be the most prized rookie of all their rookies, but he fell behind Uggla, fell behind Willingham, fell behind Ramirez, but now playing like they always thought he could.
In Philadelphia, the Phillies did not score in the bottom of the first. They're in the second there with no score. 1-0 to Hermida, and he takes a strike.
Well, Hermida got some big hits in that series down in Florida. And that guy right there, that's one of the best hitters in the game.
Hermida is 10 for his last 18, so he is scorching hot right now. And he rides one to deep right field. Back goes Green, looking up, and it's out of here. Jeremy Hermida off the wing of the scoreboard, a tremendous 2-run homer, his 18th of the year, and the Marlins jump out to a 2-0 lead. Hot hitter indeed.
Wow.
He crushed that ball.
And that just shut the crowd up right here. 18th home run for Hermida. And this is a fastball meant to be away. Oh, down the pipe and up.
And for the Marlins, their 200th home run of the season. They have had a tremendous power year, and they have themselves a 2-0 lead. Miguel Cabrera rips one foul. Cabrera with 116 RBIs, 5th in the National League. And he has a couple of home runs in his career against Oliver Perez. So the air certainly came out of this building in a hurry. Whew. After all the noise that greeted the Mets, all the enthusiasm from the crowd after the Mets let a 7-game lead get away, now they're going to have to fight uphill tonight. '22nd home run allowed by Perez this year, and the fastball fouled off by Cabrera.
Well, all you kids at home that are watching, it's Friday, it's not a school day for you tomorrow. This is a man you want to watch swing the bat. This is one of the best right-hand hitters in the game, if not one of the best hitters in the game. I love his swing. I love his approach. If you look at Cody Ross in the on-deck circle, but I'm speaking of the guy at the plate.
1-2 to Cabrera as that slider just missed.
And by approach, here's a guy with 34 home runs that really his approach is up the middle. He goes up the middle. He's got such a fast bat that he can turn on an inside pitch and cover the whole plate.
1-2, and the slider misses inside. 2-2.
He's got 116 strikeouts on the year, and I think a lot of it is just playing on a last-place team. He loses his concentration in games that are blowouts, but this man is an impressive hitter.
He also draws a lot of walks, often does not get pitches to hit because of his prowess. Well, the Mets need Perez to settle right back in after giving up the bomb to Hermida. 2-2. In the air to left center field. Beltran cutting over. He'll get there. And that's the second out. So two away as Cabrera flies out.
Well, I think what happened, Ronnie, he walked Ugla on fastballs in 5 pitches, not even close. With Hermida, the left-hand hitter, he missed badly the first pitch, tried to throw a fastball, got 1-1, and trying to get a rhythm through another one and got hurt.
Yeah, and threw it in the same spot. He's the pitch that Hermida hit for a home run was the same pitch that he threw on 1-0.
Here's Cody Ross coming back from a hamstring injury that he suffered last weekend against the Mets. His first game back in the lineup. In limited at-bats this year, Ross has been extraordinary. 12 home runs and only 165 at-bats, and he's hitting .339. And he lifts this one to right field. Green has a long way to go to get over to the line for it, and he gets there, almost overran it. Cap gone, catch made, side retired. But the Marlins off to a fast start on Hermida's 2-run homer. Jose Reyes will try and get himself and the Mets started as they come up in the bottom of the first against Byung-Hyun Kim, down 2-0. Jose Reyes leads off against Byung-Hyun Kim, and he takes off the outside corner. And the Mets, more than anything else, need for Reyes to get himself going. Your Geico Mets starting lineup. Sean Green, red hot with the bat. Mets have gone 14 innings without a run as Reyes takes inside 2-0.
Well, the South Korean submariner Byung-Hyun Kim, his last 4 starts against the Mets, 0-4 in those 19 2/3 innings, 21 runs given up.
When the Mets faced Kim last Saturday in Miami, Reyes led off the first inning with a double. The Mets scored 2 runs in that first inning, and they were off to the races. Now they come to bat down 2-0 in the first inning. And Kim misses inside 3-1. This is a ballpark that holds special meaning for Byung-Hyun Kim as you look at Luis Castillo on deck. Back in 1999 with the Arizona Diamondbacks, he made his major league debut here at Shea under the most unlikely of circumstances. As Reyes takes a strike 3 and 2. It was his first game in the big leagues, and Bob Brenly brought him in to pitch the 9th inning with a 1-run lead against the 3, 4, and 5 hitters for the Mets. And he got him out 1-2-3, getting Mike Piazza on a strikeout to end the game, and a save in his first big league outing. Slider in for a call third strike, and Reyes knew it. 3-2 slider for Kim. That's the first out.
Well, we talked about this last night, Ronnie, and this is a good backdoor slider here.
Well, he shook Matt Trainer off 2 times to get to that slider.
Taking too much, maybe laying back too much. You get a 3-1 count, go to hitting. Don't take a fastball. I just think getting too passive.
1 out and nobody on. Here's Luis Castillo, and he takes a slider for a strike. Castillo had his 12-game hitting streak stopped last night. So he hasn't done much against Kim, just 1 for 10 in his career. And the fastball in for a strike. Clocked at 92. You don't see that much anymore from Kim. His fastball not nearly as explosive as it was when he first came up.
There's the Sunday starter right there, Dontrell Willis.
Castillo lifts one along the left field line. Ross on the bad hamstring runs it down. So Cody Ross playing shallow and toward left, but hamstring or no hamstring made the play 2 out. Let's check in with the studio at Baseball Night in New York update as we check in on the Phillies with Night Yellow.
All right, thank you, Gary. Top of the second, the Nationals loaded the bases against Cole Hamels, but he gets out of it, inducing the double play. It's 0-0 in the bottom of the second in Philadelphia.
That was the pitcher, Tim Redding, who hit into the double play. Don't they tell you if you think you're going to head into a double play in that spot, strike out?
Just make 1 out. Pitchers.
So here's David Wright with 2 out and nobody on. He has crushed the Marlins all year, hitting .400 against Florida pitching. 6 for 11 in his career against Kim.
Well, he hit the ball the opposite field like he's been doing all September when he's been red hot. And you got the Marlin defense on the infield. Dan Ugla playing pretty much shading him for a pull hitter.
2-0 to right.
And there's your Rico Marlin defense, the former Met Mike Jacobs at first base. Cody Ross back on the lineup with that tender hamstring, and Matt Trainer gets to start in behind the plate.
And Wright has himself a base hit, and the Mets have a 2-out base runner. That gives David a 15-game hitting streak, halfway to Lou, who had his 30-game streak stopped last night.
Well, this is right down the pipe, and David, beautiful hitting. Nice level cut. And another thing right now, Gary, David hasn't been stealing of late, neither has Jose, but Jose hasn't been on base. I think the Mets got to make things happen here. Get on your horse. You've stolen bases all year long. That's one of your weapons. Take those bases. David's been taking really bad leads at first base, real short leads.
Here's Beltran, and he hits the ground ball right at the shortstop. Ramirez has to go to first. Uggla didn't get over to cover, so he makes the play to first base in time to end the inning. To the second we go at Shea, 2-0 Florida. Charlie Sheen and John Cryer bring their dysfunctional family fun to the CW11 5 nights a week. Catch the Emmy-nominated hit comedy 2.5 Men now twice a night, weeknights on the CW11. Mike Jacobs leads off the second inning against Oliver Perez and swings and misses on the slider.
Well, he's going to get a steady diet of those sliders, as the series in Florida, Feliciano just took him to school with the breaking stuff.
And another slider for a strike, 0-2.
Jacobs reminds me of those kind of hitters that kind of have that one plane swing, don't they, Keith? As you see a lot of Matt Trainer on deck, just has that one kind of swing, groove swing every single time.
His first move is to open up. He's on the lefties.
0-2. Stay with the slider. Struck him out on 3 pitches. First strikeout for Perez, 1 away.
Well, it's a good pitch here, but Jacobs, you keep on striking out on sliders. You got to make an adjustment. Good pitch.
He'd be a good guy to get and move him right up on the plate.
Absolutely. Get right within, like Frank Robinson, right within 2 inches of that dish.
So 1 away. Here's Matt Trainer. Trainer, the backup to Miguel Olivo, hitting a .276. And he bloops one shallow center for Castillo. And that's the second out. So on 4 pitches, Perez has 2 outs. Well, here's your Mets upcoming schedule, what's left of it. All Mets home games on SNY, available in HD, presented by IO Digital Cable, and the staff meeting is back on.
Oh, it's back on.
On and off. I need to know now.
Are we part of the staff? We're not part of the staff.
Is there a time for that meeting? Is that like 6 a.m.? We have breakfast, bagels and coffee, then we're gone. Fastball for a strike to Brett Carroll, the rookie center fielder.
We're not liaison officers, are we?
No. In fact, I did get the email. Us 3 are not invited. We're the only ones not invited.
Are they trying to tell us something?
Yes, absolutely.
And a swing and a miss by Carroll, 0-2. Brett Carroll spent most of this season in the minor leagues at .314 in Albuquerque with 19 home runs. Met fans have life tonight. 0-2 to Carroll. And he just got a piece of it. The fastball. Blooped. Right side of the infield. Castillo with a quick toss. Side retired. So Perez comes back with a 1-2-3 inning. He's retired 5 in a row. Moises Alou leads off the home second inning. Now Alou went 0 for 3 last night, putting an end to the longest hitting streak by a New York player in 66 years. Tries to get another one started tonight against Byung-Hyun Kim, against whom he's 6 for 13 in his career, and he takes fastball for ball 1. It'll be Alou, then Delgado and Luduca for the Mets. Down 2-0. They've gone to the third in Philly, still no score. And the slider misses inside, and Kim's behind on the count again.
It's interesting with Philadelphia. They've been fighting uphill for such a long time, and now they've made it to the river. Can they get across? Can they get across? A little different psyche now. They've caught him.
In the air to right field. Armida is there. And now Lou's retired one away. Don't cross the river if you can't swim the tide. Here's your text poll brought to you by Toyota. Of these pitchers, who would you most likely want to see in a one-game playoff Monday? We leave out Perez and Maine and Glavine because they're pitching this weekend. Pedro said last night he'd be willing to go on 3 days rest. I can't believe they'd ever do that. El Duque is working out of the bullpen, so interesting call.
I have my pick.
How about Dwight Gooden circa 1985?
How about R.J. Darling?
No.
You can get loose for a couple innings, can't you?
I can throw anything. It's just not going to stay around very long.
Texture responds to 57508 or go to sny.tv to vote. Here's Carlos Delgado, and he takes inside.
Well, this is a good matchup for Carlos, and you see this big shift on the infield there. That's Cabrera over there. And you see the three infielders on the right side. Remember, Carlos has been hitting the ball down and away. Here's a sinker ball pitcher. It's a good matchup for Delgado.
And this is the third time in the last 4 batters that Kim's fallen behind 2-0, and that would be a pretty good choice for Monday.
Yeah, I guess so.
If you can get him out of the vineyard.
That's keep him away from the vineyard. That'd be the key.
He's sober, too.
2-0. Big cut by Delgado, 2-1.
Let's get in that harvest time right now.
See, that ball is up. That's the difference. I think you're always going to get that good sink. That ball is that upshoot from Kim.
Oh! He hit him.
Well, that slider just broke a little bit too far. And Delgado's aboard.
Well, this is not anything new for Byung-Hyun Kim. This is his 16th batter hit in 114 innings. I mean, that's almost impossible to do.
Most in the National League. It has been quite an odyssey for Byung-Hyun Kim this year. He began the season as a Colorado Rocky, was traded to the Marlins in May for Jorge Julio. Remember him? He was claimed on waivers by the Diamondbacks in early August, made 2 horrible starts for them, including one against the Marlins. He was then released, and then the Marlins re-signed him in late August, and he's been back with them ever since. Very strange year for Kim.
Must have liked one pitch he threw that day.
He's kind of a strange guy. He's known to sleep 12 to 14 hours a night.
I used to do that.
You still do.
Slider into LaDuca for a strike.
The problem was it would go into the afternoon.
Well, that's okay, as long as the ball game's at night. But he is a bit of an odd duck, and of course the 2001 World Series didn't do much for his psyche when he gave up those 2 stunning home runs to the Yankees. Fastball hit foul by LaDuca, and it's 0-2.
Well, the outfield defense is shading LaDuca to right field, and I agree. I think Cody Ross should get more in the gap. Just a pinch. But Uggla's still playing right there. And he's LaDuca with 2. Whoa! Duca with 2 strikes. He's got to get over and cover that hole.
You gonna paint a mustache on him?
I also think the outfield defense a little deep.
Yeah. 0-2 to LaDuca. Lifted to right field, and Hermita's right in the right spot. And that's the second out. So 2 away. Delgado's still at first, and Sean Green will come to the plate.
The right fielder, number 20,
Sean has been raging hot. You see his numbers against Kim. Those are great. His last 25 games, he's hitting .408. So Sean Green is going to be a free agent at the end of the year, is certainly finishing his season very strong.
Well, there you see Uggla now getting over a little more to the pull with Sean Green. I think another good matchup here for Green. Low ball hitter.
And he takes a first pitch strike.
That ball is started outside and continued outside, and that's why Sean Green couldn't believe the call by Ed Hickox.
And the fastball for a strike, and now it's 0-2.
Well, Kim is throwing hard. 90 miles an hour on the knees. Middle, but still down.
You've got to be careful with that pitch, because that pitch comes back over the middle. If the left-hand hitter stays in, it's going to sink right out into the wheelhouse.
Now it's 0-2 to Green with 2 out. And Sean reaches and lines it into left field, a base hit. Nicely done by Sean Green. And that will, if nothing else, clear the pitcher's spot here in the second.
Well, good hitting by Sean on the backdoor slider up, and that's really your only approach off a guy like Kim if you're a left-hand hitter. You're going to sit on the outer half of the plate and wait for the sinker ball or the backdoor slider, and maybe once in a while, if you feel up to it, to look in just to keep him honest. But percentage of the time, the great percentage of your at-bats and pitches off Kim, you're a left-hand hitter, you're going to be set up going over to the opposite field.
So now Oliver Perez with a chance. 8 hits this year, but he's been struggling with the bat lately. He's driven in 1 run this season. 2 out and 2 on. And he lines one the other way, a base hit. Delgado will go to third. Ross overruns the ball. Delgado was not running hard. Now he'll try to score, and he does. And the Mets are on the board.
Well, that was an awful job of base running by Delgado, who basically jogged from second to third and was fortunate to be able to score when Ross overran the ball. The error by Ross allows the run to come in.
Well, nice hitting by Perez here, and Carlos just assumed, and he was going to be held up, but he almost got embarrassed.
I mean, how in a game like this can you run half speed? I just don't understand that.
That's part of the problem. You know, you cannot assume, not take anything for granted. And nice job by Mr. Perez. Look at that.
No RBI for Oliver, but he'll take the run any way he can get it. Now it's 2-1. And here's Reyes, who struck out looking his first time up. And he swings and misses at the off-speed pitch, 0-1.
Well, nice changeup. Pulled the string on Reyes. Very aggressive on that first pitch.
Well, that's what Kim's going to have to do to the left-hand hitters, or he's going to be in big trouble.
2 on and 2 out. And the fastball in tight. Well, the Mets had gone 15 innings without scoring. The last 5 against Washington 2 nights ago. Shutout last night in the first inning tonight. They finally get on the board thanks to the Ross error. And now they'll try and do some more damage against Kim, whom they touched for 5 runs in 5 innings in Florida last Saturday. Look at that. Reyes really struggling in these RBI spots lately. He hits one in the air to right center field, cutting over Hermida with Carroll, and they come together, and Hermida makes the catch to end the inning. So the Mets get an unearned run. Oliver Perez back to the mound. Florida with a 2-1 lead. Batters can't lay off a slider down and in, or down and away for that matter. How do you hit that?
Well, it's a very, depending on the quality of the slider, Mike, it's a tough pitch to lay off. Lefty to a righty, righty to a lefty. The key to hitting it is don't swing at the bad one. Swing at the one on the knees, and it's obviously the hanger. The pitcher makes a mistake. But down and in, it's a tough pitch to hit. It's a tough pitch to lay off if it's bad.
Young-Hyun Kim just 1 for 30 on the season.
Hey, Keith, as a hitter, so you're standing up there. Is there a place where the slider comes out of that you know it's going to be a strike when it breaks, and a place that it comes out of lower that you know it's going to break and be a ball?
It depends on the slider again, how late it breaks. If it's a lazy breaking ball or an average breaking ball, you can see it out of the hand and project in that split second where it's going to go.
1-2 to Kim, and he lines it the other way, and he's got himself a base hit. Only the 2nd hit of the year for Byung-Hyun Kim. How about that?
It's just...
Well, bad pitch here. Got it up.
Oh, man, I tell you.
It's a weak hack, but it worked.
That's one of those singles where the guy's running down first base, and while he's running, you're screaming at him.
Well, you got a hit off me. I got a hit off you. Take that.
So Perez had retired 5 in a row. Now he's going to take on Hanley Ramirez with a man on. Delgado playing in front of the runner as Ramirez takes ball 1. Ramirez flying to center his first time up.
There's Kim running to first base. Watch this turn. It's a beauty.
Looked like he was in pain.
We got to
There we go.
We got to get him on a little running program, young Kim. I mean, come on now.
Like he's playing cricket.
Not getting enough sleep.
Well, Hanley Ramirez needs 1 home run for 30.
2-0 to Ramirez, and he drills one foul.
Will you be quiet over there?
Jeez.
They think I'm in shakes. Wow. Now Ramirez already has 29 home runs, 46 doubles, 51 stolen bases, 209 hits. He's just had a marvelous offensive season.
Well, what a player.
Dan Uggla on deck. Foul back, and it's 2-2.
You know, I will say too, when he comes to New York, he plays down there in Miami. He does not get a lot of press. Jose Reyes gets everything here in New York. Don't think that when he comes into this city, he wants to show how good he can play. That I can play with this young man too.
With his second season, last year's National League Rookie of the Year. 2-2 to Ramirez. Now back with fastball by Perez, and he wasted it away.
I mean, 2 good fastballs by Perez back to back, 1 down and in, and then 1 away. And Ramirez just had 2 really nice rips at it. I think he's got to mix in a breaking ball here.
Yeah, he's got nice plate coverage, doesn't he, Ramirez?
Another one of the good hitters I like. The good young hitters.
They've got some on this Florida team. They're dangerous. 2-2. Slider, line, down the left field line. Fair ball, base hit. Kim around second, heads to third. Alou over to play it. Kim cruises into third, and Ramirez into second with his 47th double of the year. He broke his bat, but he found the line for a 2-base hit, and Perez has some trouble.
It's a good slider, down, maybe middle, but it's definitely down. Good pitch, breaks the bat, kind of a lucky hit off the end of the bat from Ramirez, but this is what you're going to see as he gets older. He's going to be projected more, I think, as a third baseman or a first baseman. He's going to be a big kid someday.
So, with the Mets down 2-1, second and third and nobody out, Dan Uggla, who walked his first time up. The infield back at second and short, and knocked down as it hits the leg of Uggla. It's a hit batsman, and the bases are loaded. So Perez's world is coming crashing down around him here. A single by the pitcher, a broken bat double, a hit batsman, and all of a sudden bases loaded, and the 3 and 4 hitters coming up.
Well, slider down and in, held on to it a little too long. Probably a result of the last slider. He gave up a hit to Ramirez. Wanted to make sure it was a little sharper. Too sharp.
Well, Jeremy Hermida, first time up, provided this Coors Light cold blast, and he just crushed it off the wing of the scoreboard. That is a long way away.
Well, first pitch strike right now is critical for Perez.
Bases loaded, nobody out. And Hermida tries to hold up, went around on the slider, 0-1.
Well, it wasn't a strike, but looks like Hermida went up there thinking fastball. It was going to swing no matter what.
They got a chance to really open up this game.
And another slider, and it's 0-2. This is the way he pitched to Jacobs first time around.
Not strikes.
Yeah, good pitch there. You cannot throw a strike with that slider now. Move it another 6 inches out.
To Hermida. Slider hit to third. Grabbed by Wright on a hop. He throws home for the force. Now back to third for the tag. He's off the bag. He had a force play. Why didn't he just step on third? It should have been a double play. The runners had to freeze to see whether it would be caught out of the air. They get the force at home and should have had an out at third as well.
And it's a good call by the umpire, third base umpire, Ed Rapriano. This is the freak play.
But why didn't he just step on third base?
I understand, Gary. It's an unusual play, and he didn't know the rules, obviously. Obviously did not know the rule.
Or just didn't realize the situation that the force was on there. And that's a killer for the Mets because that should be 2 out first and second, and still instead it's 1 out, bases loaded. All Wright had to do was step on the base. It goes as a 5-2 force play on Kim at the plate for the first out.
Well, everybody had to freeze because it was a short hop to David. all the runners. They didn't know whether it was going to be caught on a line drive. Now, David did hesitate on the throw, Gary. He did not react. He should watch him. Well, here's the tag. Well, and he is safe.
Well, he might be safe, but the Marlins rewarded by Ramirez not sliding into the base.
You can see the short hop. All the runners had the freeze, and there's David with that tap. Now, there's a split second. That may make the difference, and it did.
Still has to be a double play. Just has to step on third.
Yep. Oh, well.
I mean, these are the critical moments of big games that just kill you. Now you've got the best hitter in the Marlins lineup up with the bases loaded and one out, and you've got no room to play with Cabrera. It fouled down the right field side.
You have to watch Cabrera here. One of the reasons that makes him such a great hitter, as you face him as a pitcher, he has no problem hitting that ball to the right side, hitting a single to right field.
116 RBI on the season.
Infield at double play depth. Fouled away, and now Perez ahead 0-2.
Well, he went after him right in 2 fastballs in a row, Ronnie.
I like how he went after him. Now, no problem going up a little higher. Head high, then back with that slider down and in.
Check swing. Did he go?
He held. C.B. Buckner with the call at first, 1-2.
And good try by Perez. Good hard slider down. Tough pitch to lay off. Let's see. I agree.
One and two to Cabrera.
Slider struck him out. 2 out.
Well, that's the way to do it. You throw that hard one. Don't want to mess around with that slow one to Cabrera. He recognized fastball, and the bottom dropped out the last second. Nice emotion from Perez.
What a pitch. He's not out of the woods yet. One more.
Now he's going to take on Cody Ross, who flied to right his first time up. And he's got this crowd, Perez does, up and roaring. 2-1 Florida, 3rd inning. Bases loaded, 2 down. Ramirez walking down the line from third as Ross tries to hold up, but he went around on the slider, 0-1.
Good slider again. He's going to have to watch, or at least be wary of, maybe even go out of the windup to be able to watch Mr. Ramirez, because he's trying to time it to steal home.
As that last pitch was thrown, David Wright had gone to cover third because Ramirez was walking down the line. That whole hole was open.
Inside, he hit him, and that forces in a run. 3-1 Florida.
Oh. Wow.
So Perez, who was on the verge of getting out of it, hits the batter. Wright's mistake on the play at third base cost the Mets at least a run.
Well, just inexplicable. Hard to describe that when you need a strike and the ball's behind the batter.
Well, second hit batsman of the inning. Now Mike Jacobs, who struck out on 3 pitches his first time up. 3-1 Florida. And a breaking ball almost hit him.
Well, Jacobs right here. There goes Rick Peterson. Going to go out and settle him down.
What can you say to a pitcher who's already hit 2 batters, almost hit a third, at a time when he has got to knuckle down?
I think what happened, to tell you the truth, honest truth to me, he struck out Cabrera, got really so excited, jumping up and down, like and he was not out of the inning. I think that, you know, that's great to get excited, and you like to see that emotion, but you got to bring it all the way back now.
Correct.
And execute pitches. Now, show that kind of emotion after the 3rd out. That's fine.
Correct.
Second out, a little motion, bring it all back.
He wasn't out of the woods yet. That was for sure.
He threw nothing but sliders to Jacobs first time around and got him on 3 pitches. Jacobs 0 for his last 16. Bases loaded, 2 out.
And a slider hit him, and it forces in another run. Can you believe this? The 3rd hit batsman of the inning
The second one that forces in a run, and it's 4-1 Florida. Inexplicable. But haven't we said that so often these last 2 weeks?
Well, that is just hurts because Jacobs should put that one in his back pocket. Wow.
Now Matt Trainer with the bases still loaded, and he fouls it back.
Guys, there's a throwing of the baseball and there's an aiming of the baseball, and you can't do the latter.
3 hit batsmen by Perez.
And you go back to Wright's inability or forgetfulness or whatever, not touching the bag at third, and it's now cost the Mets at least 2 runs. Swing and a miss, and it's 0-2 to Trainer. Well, the Mets just can't afford too much more play like this, whether it be base running, fielding, pitching. They've just got to tighten up, or maybe they need to loosen up. Oh-2 to Trainer. Slider missed. 1-2. They've gone to the bottom of the 4th in Philadelphia. The Nationals and Phillies still no score. Hermida, Ross, and Jacobs, the base runners, with 2 out. The Mets down 4-1 in the 3rd. Field. One and 2 to Trainer. Slider in there for a call 3rd strike, and the inning finally comes to an end. But an agonizing inning for Oliver Perez. 2 runs score, 3 hit batsmen, and the Mets are down by 3. Luis Castillo leads off the home 3rd inning. The Mets down 4-1. Castillo flied to left his first time up against Byung-Hyun Kim, and he bluffs the bunt and takes ball 1. It'll be Castillo, then David Wright and Carlos Beltran here in the bottom of the 3rd. A 2-run homer by Jeremy Hermida in the 1st. 2 bases loaded hit batsmen in the 3rd, and it's 4-1 Florida. And again, he bluffs the bunt and takes a strike. A little wind is starting to blow up here. We had a brief storm right before the game, and the wind was blowing all around the ballpark. We had about 15 minutes of rain, and now that wind has picked up again. So maybe another shower is in the offing. 1-1. Castillo grounds one up the middle, base hit. So the Mets have the leadoff man on for the first time tonight.
Well, I like the approach of this game on the left-hand hitters on the Mets. And that's just going up the middle off the sinker ball.
So now David Wright, he singled to center his first time up. Now trying to atone for his mental lapse in the field as he comes to bat here in the bottom of the 3rd. You can run on Kim.
Oh, it takes forever.
There have been 22 stolen bases this year with Kim on the mound, and he does not have his best throwing catcher behind the plate tonight. Olivo's got a great arm. Trainer not quite the same.
Bit surprised that Oliva's not starting.
There's a strike. And it's 1-1. Castillo with 18 steals on the year. Jacobs holds him on, and Kim checks in on him.
Well, Kim has a nice move because when you throw to first base, you want to throw a little sidearm to get it over there a little quicker, and of course he has that advantage.
But so slow getting it home.
It's about a 1-6, 1-7. Anything over a 1-4. Time to go.
Whoa. 2-1 to Wright. Well, Willie, after the first inning, came out to talk about Kim's motion and perhaps saying that he doesn't come to a stop.
Well, what he's saying is that he changes his stop. Sometimes he'll come to a stop, not a complete stop, and then he'll come up with his hands real quick. You're supposed to come to a complete stop, hold it for a count. It could be a short count and then go. Sometimes he will pop it off his belt.
Hit and run count. I know you're down 3 runs. Might try to make something happen.
There goes Castillo. The pitch goes to the backstop. Castillo didn't realize it, and he's holding at second base. Probably couldn't have gotten third anyway, but he had his back turned as he went into second standing up and didn't know the ball had gotten by Trainer.
Well, it wasn't a hit and run because David would have swung, but the Mets have to do this. They've made their living stealing bases. And as Ronnie pointed out, Kim is a guy you can steal on. They've made their living stealing bases as part of their offense, part of the ways that they can beat you. And they've kind of shut it down.
And that is the Mets' 200th stolen base of the season. They're the first team since the 1996 Colorado Rockies to steal 200 bases in a season. So now a runner at second and nobody out. 3-1 to right. And David lashes one foul.
You know, we heard in our pregame when we were talking, we heard some of the sound from the clubhouse, and there was talk of, you know, let's not force it. Let's just play the game. Why not force it? Why not take it to the Marlins? That's a nice play by Castillo.
And remember also, this is a Florida team that plays dreadful defense.
Yeah.
You want to put extra pressure on a team like that.
Yeah, they will make mistakes.
They have made the most errors of any team in the majors. 133 of them. 134 now. With the one by Ross in the second inning. 3-2 to right. Ooh. On the outside corner, strike 3 called. Got him looking at the fastball. Second strikeout for Kim. 1 away.
Well, I don't know if David got caught looking for a breaking ball. He knew it. And anytime, I've always said, you take a fastball, strike 3, and that's got the black, too close to take, you've been set up.
So David out for the first out. In Philadelphia, the Phillies did not score in the bottom of the 4th. They go to the 5th. Still no score.
I'm telling you, both teams now that they're even are feeling the same heat.
Here's Beltran, and he drives one in the air to deep right center field. That ball is out of here. Off the scoreboard. A towering shot by Beltran to get the Mets back within a run. Number 33 for Carlos Beltran. And it's 4-3 Florida. Well, Beltran had not been hitting home runs at home. 2 nights ago he hit a pair, and this one took out some lights on the scoreboard. Beltran now with 111 runs batted in, and the Mets are right back within a run. Now Moises Alou, and he hits the slider foul.
Well, Kim, I told you it was a good matchup for the Mets with the left hand. He'll get a fastball in, and then bled out right into Carlos's wheelhouse, and that's a bomb. That's how I thought the Budweiser can.
Almost got it. Yep.
Look at that, right in the happy area. That put a dent in the Budweiser can out there in that scoreboard.
Off the corner to Alou, 1-1. Well, they knew at the minute that Beltran made contact, it was gone. Didn't quite hit as high on the beer head as Mo Vaughn's did a few years back. But you don't get style points. This time of year, you settle for wall scrapers. Off the corner, and it's 2-1. Well, oh! The rocket. Got the fine print.
Beechwood age.
33 homers, 111 RBIs for Beltran. 2-1 to Alou. In the air to right field for Hermida. And that's the second out. So Alou unable to go back-to-back with Beltran the way he did the other night.
Mr. Kim didn't know how many outs there were as he was walking towards the bench.
We've seen some. Well, the last place team you can see. You know, you're kind of playing the season out, but this is exciting. You're a last place ball club coming and playing not a non-meaningless game. You're playing with a full house. Exciting.
Well, the Mets have gotten Oliver Perez right back into this game. Here's Delgado, and he takes a strike. And now Perez has got to do his part and settle in.
Keith, you made a nice point, though. Castillo forced the issue by stealing. All of a sudden, Kim has a runner in scoring position. That changes what his approach to getting Beltran out. Ends up hitting a 2-run bomb.
Delgado takes a strike, and it's 0-2.
Well, my feeling is when you're going bad like this, don't get passive, start taking too many pitches. Get aggressive.
Or go down swinging, one or the other.
Delgado was hit by a pitch his first time up, and he fights that one off. Carlos scored the first Med run on the error by Cody Ross in the second inning. Loduca on deck. A 2-run homer by Carlos Beltran has gotten the Mets back into this game, trailing 4-3 in the third. Delgado goes the other way, nobody there, and he's got himself a base hit. So taking advantage of the overshift, Delgado hit it where nobody was playing. And the Mets have their third hit of the inning. The tying run is aboard.
Well, nice hitting by Carlos. Going the other way. It's not a strike. That's off the plate around 5-6 inches.
Well, Keith, I blame trainer and the pitcher for this pitch. You can't throw a sinker off the plate away. Where do you think it's going to be hit? It's against your defense.
Well, nicely done by Delgado. And Freddie Gonzalez, I've said from the beginning, and I have a short leash on Kim with all these left-hand hitters.
So now Loduca comes to bat with Delgado at first and 2 down. Loduca flying to right his first time up. And he takes a fastball for a strike. He's never had much luck against Kim. Not just 1 for 21, but 0 for his last 16 against this Submariner. But Willie Randolph, as he said before the game, he's going to stick with his best guys. Despite the fact that Castro, filling in for Loduca, hit a 3-run homer off Kim last Saturday. Sean Green on deck. Loduca fights it off, and it's 0-2.
You know, there's little things that happen in a game that you say to yourself, you know, this person is just not mentally into the game. Kim, with Delgado at first, 2 outs and Loduca up, tries his best pickoff move at first base. Forget about Delgado. You have to get the hitter at the plate. Concentration.
Now he's ahead on Loduca, 0-2. The slider misses low. 1-2. Kim trying to win his 10th game of the season. He's 8-5 as a Marlin, 9-8 overall. Pitching with 3 different teams this year. Looped into left field. Ross is right there, and that ends the inning. But the Mets get 2 runs back. Carlos Beltran with a monumental 2-run homer. Hitting it off the Budweiser sign above the center field scoreboard to get the Mets back within 1. This weekend when the Mets host the Marlins, be a part of it. Go to Mets.com now for your tickets. Day games tomorrow and Sunday to close out the season. The house is just about packed tonight. Hey, Mom, I'm at the game. Carlos Beltran hit a home run. It hit the Budweiser sign. Mommy, what's Budweiser?
Dad's like, talk to your mom. I got to watch this game. I can't miss a pitch. Sorry.
Brett Carroll fouls it off, and it's 0-1.
Go ask your daddy.
Carroll grounded out to second base his first time up. The pitcher Kim on deck, and then Hanley Ramirez here in the top of the 4th as Oliver Perez tries to get himself righted after hitting 3 batters in the last inning. And by the way, that ties a major league record. Fly ball to right for Green, and Carroll retired 1 away. Let's check in with Kevin Burkhardt. Kevin?
Guys, this Met team has drawn a lot of comparisons in recent days to the 1964 Phillies team, who were up by 6.5 games in the division with 12 to play. They went on a 10-game losing streak, missed the playoffs by a game. So I got a little perspective today. I talked to Stan Hochman, who's been writing for the Philadelphia Daily News for the last 48 years. He covered that Phillies team. and I wanted to get a feel, what that team was like and comparisons to this team. He said the biggest difference, the manager. While Willie Randolph has maintained his even keel and said the same things and maintained a positive attitude, he said the players were baffled by Gene Mott because they never knew what to get out of him. One day he would come in very aggressive, even at one point urging his players to get into a physical fist fight, and then the next day he was tranquil and quiet and didn't say a thing. So the players were utterly confused by it. He told me last night watching the Met game against the Cardinals, actually because of what happened, remember that game was called rather early with the rain a while ago, and it seemed to be in the Mets' favor with Pedro going, but of course it didn't work out. Said it reminded him of a point, which is a story we all know. In that season, early in the season for the Phillies, they're taking on the Dodgers. Sandy Koufax on the mound. They called the game for a threat of rain, rescheduled it on Yom Kippur so they wouldn't have to face him. Well, it turns out they lost that game on Yom Kippur, and they lost their first baseman, Frank Thomas, too. So sometimes those things don't always work out. Finally, I talked to Stan, big hack by Kim there, and I said, hey, what do you think about this current Phillies team and how they compare? And he said, you know what? In my 48 years, they're the most likable team. Guys, get this. He compared them to the Flying Walendas, that high wire act. He said, you know why? When you watch them win with a pitching staff like that, as Kim strikes out, when you watch them win with a pitching staff like that, it's like being on a high wire. Back up to you guys.
Well, anything in that ballpark is going to feel like a high wire anyway because of the way the ball flies out of there. Interesting thing about this Phillies team is if they get to the postseason, are Myers and Gordon and Romero going to be able to lift their arms to pitch? Those guys pitch every day. 2 out and nobody on. Hanley Ramirez, who doubled his last time up, and he checks his swing, and he did not swing. C.B. Buckner gives him a pass.
Very curious. We're going to watch the swing here, the check swing. I agree. Kim swings at a probable ball 4, 3-1, and takes strike 3.
Just killing me.
I'm sorry. You're saying he's not representing pitchers hitting very well?
Well, I mean, I was a horrible hitter, but I mean, still, you got to know how to play the game. Pretty simple.
2-0 to Ramirez, and he pulls one just foul. They've gone to the bottom of the 5th now in Philadelphia, still no score. And you've probably seen this before. No team has blown a 7-game lead as late as the Mets had a 7-game lead. Pulled foul.
I'm telling you, Gary, now that this division is even, the Phillies have a different perspective.
Yeah.
They got 3 games and they've got to win 2, and it's not surprising that it's a 0-0 up there and tight. They've been fighting uphill all, now they're there even. It's a whole different ball of wax now.
2-2 to Ramirez.
Hit hard to short. Reyes with the sliding stop. Does he have time? Throws high and safe.
Thank you, CB. And Ramirez safe at first base. Reyes, after he made that stop, looked like he paused a beat before he got rid of it.
Oh, he tripped. He got the bad footing. Nice recovery. Nice attempt. He just stumbled a bit.
And did you see CB Buckner never made a call? I mean, he was safe, clearly, but...
Nice play by Reyes, and you're right about CB Buckner.
So it's an infield single for Ramirez, and now we'll see if he tries to swipe one.
He's got 51 stolen bases. Very nonchalant call, huh?
There was no call for the longest time.
Nonchalant. No sense of urgency.
He's quick on that check swing call.
1, 2, 3, 4. Thank you, CB.
Oh, he didn't know where the ball was.
So what? He's still safe.
I know, but Delgado had to show him the ball.
Uggla has walked and been hit by a pitch. He's scored 2 runs. And that's taken inside ball 1. And as that pitch was thrown, Hanley Ramirez was just kind of strolling off first. He didn't really have a lead.
Very nonchalant.
Yeah.
We see a lot of this with this Marlin team. You know it's a last place team.
Lined into right center field for a base hit. Green gets over to cut it off. Ramirez heads for third. Green's throw to third is not in time. And in at second base is Uggla. Ramirez didn't slide, which almost cost him. And Uggla goes to second on the throw.
Inexcusable. I'm surprised that Sean threw, but he hits the cutoff man. Why not? Reyes could have cut it off. Ramirez not sliding. That's the second time for him. And that's just inexcusable. Good heads up by Ugla.
If that ball had been cut off. Third base coach doing a job telling him to slide.
It's just incredible. Bo Porter, the third base coach. What are you going to do? If you're not going to get it from the manager.
Huge moment in this game for Oliver Perez. Down by a run. Second and third, 2 out. Here's Hermida. And he takes the slider off the plate. Hermida delivered the keynote tonight with a 2-run homer back in the first inning. His 18th of the year.
Struck out on 3 straight sliders last at bat. Took the first one all the way.
And he takes it off the plate 2-0.
Make Perez throw him a strike. Now you got the big guy in the on-deck circle. It's a nice pitch to hit right here.
Got first base open, but that guy looming on deck, Cabrera.
Fastball away.
2-0 to Hermida. And the slider in for a strike.
Okay, and that's fine right there. The hitter, okay. You threw me a 2-0 slider, fine. Do it again. Still gearing fastball here.
And nice job by Perez on a 2-0 count.
Yeah, that's not a pitch for the hitter to swing at.
Last time Hermida hit that low liner that right fielded on a hop, and he swings and misses at a slider. That's got an out at home. Should have had an out at third, which wasn't made.
Well, this is ball 3 right there. That's a big swing pitch.
Well, Perez getting mileage out of his slider. And the fans are in his corner. This will be his 70th pitch of the night. And Hermida asks for time.
That's always a good thing to do. You see, he shook off LaDuca twice, and LaDuca never had a sign down. That's just trying to play with the hitter's mind. It's good time. Okay, I'm not playing that game. Step out.
2-2. Held up on the slider, and it's 3-2. Well, Jimmy Rollins does it again. 2-run single in the bottom of the 5th. And the Phillies break the ice and lead the Nationals 2-0.
How about Rollins? What a year. I think he's just surged ahead for the MVP. He's got it locked.
Ramirez at third, Ugla at second with 2 down. Also on the out-of-town scoreboard, and of greater importance to the Mets than it would have been a couple of days ago, Milwaukee has 2 runs off Greg Maddux in the bottom of the 1st. That game goes to the 2nd. 2-0 Brewers. The Padres are 1 game ahead of the Mets and leading the wild card, so it certainly helps the Mets' cause if the Padres lose and gives them a fallback. 3-2 to Hermida. And he holds up on the slider. Ball 4. And the bases are loaded again for Cabrera. So Perez, who has hit 3 batters, issues his 2nd walk of the night. And after retiring the first 2 batters here in the 4th, he now has the bases loaded and the task of getting Cabrera again with 3 men on. He did the last time, struck him out. Jorge Sosa starting to get ready in the Mets bullpen. So Perez, who shut down the Marlins in his last start, having trouble doing the same tonight. Bases loaded, 2 out. And here's Cabrera, and he takes a slider inside.
Well, this is a huge at bat. Cabrera hitting .286 with runners in scoring position, 2 outs. .373 in other situations.
1-0. And he works him inside with the fastball, and now it's 2-0. So Cabrera in a great hitter's spot here. 34 home runs, 116 runs batted in. And there is a nervousness here at Shea again.
Gotta believe Cabrera's approach will be going to right center field.
2-0. In tight, ball 3. So now Perez has already forced in a couple of runs by hitting batters, in danger of forcing in a run with a walk.
Gosh, do you give Cabrera a hit sign here? I don't think he will. What do they got to lose?
I'd give him a hit sign if he wants one.
Absolutely.
Hoping for the pop-up.
3-0. And he takes a strike with a fastball, 3-1.
Well, if you're hitting 3-0, you're looking for a fastball middle in. You got it in.
A little down, though.
Marlins 4, Mets 3, fourth inning. 3-1 to Cabrera. Swing and a miss at the fastball, and it's 3-2.
Got a little help there, ball 4.
Almost looked like he cut that fastball a little bit. Fans are up on it. They're ready.
Cabrera does not look comfortable off Perez.
Now the merry-go-round will be in motion. 3-2 and 2 down.
On the ground toward the middle, Reyes can't get it, base hit. Ramirez scores, Uggla scores, 6-3 Florida. Reyes tried to smother it, couldn't do it, and 2-run score, and the Marlins again have a 3-run lead.
Well, sooner or later he had to get a hit. Nice try by Jose. Got the glove there because you want to knock it down. Only 1 run scores. Great effort. Just didn't get it done.
And that's going to be it for Oliver Perez. Willie Randolph is coming out with the hook. And Jorge Sosa will come on. So the Mets fought back to within a run on Beltran's 2-run homer. But after 2 out and nobody on, the Marlins played 2 here in the top of the 4th, and Perez is done for the night after 3 2/3. This call to the bullpen brought to you by Verizon. Switch to Verizon Fios TV, internet, phone. It's the most advanced fiber optic network straight to your home. Jorge Sosa brought in long relief tonight with 2 out in the 4th inning, and the Mets down by 3.
Well, Sosa pitched a couple of days ago, 2/3 of an inning, a strikeout. You see a lot of innings for Sosa, 110 as he had all those starts earlier in the season.
Remember, he gave up a base hit on that play where Reyes didn't cover second base and then was left in to face the lefty Brian Schneider and gave up a 2-run single. So now Sosa will try and get Perez out of any further trouble here in the 4th as he takes on Cody Ross. Ross was hit by a pitch to force in a run in the 3rd. The Marlins with 2 in the 1st, 2 in the 3rd, 2 in the 4th, and they lead it 6-3. Hermida at 2nd, Cabrera at 1st, and 2 out.
New career high for Cabrera at first base, 118 ribbies.
The Phillies have just added a run on a Chase Utley RBI double. 3-0 Philly, bottom of the 5th. And Ross takes off the plate with a slider, 1-0. So it's in the Mets' hands if they don't want to be in second place at the end of the night. And El Duque is up in the Mets bullpen. Made his season bullpen debut a couple of nights ago and available tonight. And the slider top toward 3rd. In comes right. Has to barehand it. Makes the throw on target. Side retired. Nice play by David Wright to get the Mets through the inning. But the Marlins tack on a couple on Miguel Cabrera's 2-run hit. And again, the Mets are down by 3. Let's check out our Aflac trivia question for tonight. Who holds the Mets record for most doubles in a season at Shea? Sean Green leads off the home 4th inning and takes a strike from Young-Hyun Kim, who's been reestablished with a 3-run lead. Green had a base hit to left field his first time up. And it's up the middle and a base hit for Green, and Sean is 2 for 2. Well, Sean Green continues his outstanding September. And now David Newhan will come up to pinch hit.
Well, the good approach right here, just taking Kim up the middle right there.
Well, Green is aboard to start the bottom of the 4th. And now Newhan. Remember, the Mets are without Marlon Anderson again tonight, the 2nd game of his 2-game suspension. So they're very short from the left side, and Willie's going to go with Newhan early in the game. He still has Chavez and Gotay to use as left-hand pinch hitters. Mets now have 7 hits off Kim. They got a run in the 2nd, 2 in the 3rd. They're going to need a whole lot more tonight. And Newhan trying to bunt his way on. Fouls it off.
Well, don't understand that one, but Cabrera was playing back.
Right off the mask of training.
Freddie Gonzalez, the manager of Florida, trying to nurse 2 more innings out of Kim, and boy, I tell you what, that is, talk about the Walindas.
Well, the Florida bullpen was great. As you look at El Duque up in the Mets bullpen, Florida bullpen was great against the Cubs the last 3 days, but they were very heavily worked. Up the middle should be 2. Ramirez playing right near the bag, and he turns it over, a 6-6-3 double play, and that is just a killer for the Mets. 2 out and nobody on.
Well, this ball's hit hard, but they had him defensed up the middle. Ramirez, easy double play. Mets have been hitting into their share of double plays of this homestand, Gary.
Well, they hit into 4 of them in one game against Washington a couple of nights ago. Here's Reyes, who struck out and flying to right 0 for 2. And he takes inside from Kim. So Reyes hitless now in his last 10 at bats and 9 for his last 52. The Phillies got the 3 runs. That inning is over. They go to the 6th. Phillies 3, Nationals nothing. Arizona has jumped out to a 1-0 lead on Colorado. That is now of interest to the Mets as well. They could use the Rockies losing. That's in the 3rd. On the inside corner, a strike. That's a battle of aces there. Brandon Webb against Jeff Francis. In tight to Reyes, and it's 3-1. Right now the Mets have the same record as the Phillies, the same record as the Rockies, and 1 game behind San Diego. Three and 1 to Jose. He slaps one to short, and Ramirez has it. Makes the overhand toss in time to get Reyes, and the inning is over. So Kim, given the 3-run lead, hangs on to it. It's on to the 5th, 6-3 Florida. Now, 2 nights ago, Orlando Hernandez made his first relief appearance of the year. Now tonight he makes his 2nd.
Well, El Duque just, as they say, raving one out here, giving the Mets, trying to give them some middle relief innings here, giving them a chance to come back on young Kim.
Well, we'll see what El Duque is capable of from an inning standpoint. He pitched a 1 inning 2 nights ago and said he really was only capable of pitching that 1 inning. He threw 29 pitches. Remember, he walked a couple and struck out his last 2 batters. So I guess the question is he capable of giving the Mets 2 or 3 tonight?
I think he's capable of giving 2. It's just 29 pitches. It's too many. That's usually a 2-inning allotment. So hopefully he can have a little quicker first inning here.
Oliver Perez went 3 2/3, allowed 6 runs and 6 hits, walked 2, struck out 4, hit 3 batters, 2 of them forced in runs, and allowed a home run. Perez tying a major league record with 3 hit batsmen in 1 inning. Jorge Sosa came on to get the final out in the 4th, and now it's on El Duque as Rick Peterson tries to figure out what he's going to do next.
Well, I just think Willie and Rick Peterson going, let's see, Willie talking with Pedro there, interesting. Going with the veteran here, someone that's been through the wars, postseason, stretch runs. The starting pitching did not come through today. The Mets pitching has not been up to it. And Willie's not going to take a chance, and I agree. You go with this guy for, if you can get 3 innings out of him.
What do you think this conversation is about, Ronnie?
Well, I tell you, very unusual that Willie would be sitting down with Pedro. Pedro's very animated in his discussion, and at some point, maybe Pedro's coming to Willie telling him, I feel good today, Willie.
Well, Pedro did his job last night. He was terrific in his 7-inning stint. The Mets just couldn't get him any runs.
Oh, I'll tell you what, all you lip readers out there, don't be afraid to email.
Mike Jacobs takes a curveball for a strike from El Duque.
Email the truck.
Interesting, in his first outing, El Duque threw almost exclusively fastballs and sliders, but his first pitch to Jacobs was that slow curve, and the fastball fouled back. So perhaps he's willing to get a little deeper into his repertoire tonight, or maybe it's just what felt good in the bullpen.
I think that's the key for Hernandez. Just sort of like a golfer on the driving range. He's got that little slice working. You got to play it.
Lee Trevino.
right. He was the Merry Mex, or just the Mex.
He was the classic slicer.
Said pressure is playing for $5 when you have nothing in your pocket. In the air to right center field. Green moving over. And Jacobs retired for the first out. So 1 out and nobody on. Let's take another look at the race to the playoffs. Arizona is now up 3-0 on Colorado. Connor Jackson just hit a 2-run homer, and again, that's good for the Mets. San Diego also trails 2-0 to Milwaukee in the third, and that's good for the Mets. Not good is the fact that the Phillies lead Washington 3-0 in the sixth. So it is all very, very tight.
Pretty nice effort by Tim Redding so far, though, in that ballpark.
But a better one by Cole Hamels. Matt Trainer takes a breaking ball for a strike. Trainer has popped to second and taken a call third strike, 0 for 2. And El Duque dealing tonight, ahead with a slider, and it's 0-2. So he's thrown 5 pitches, 5 strikes. Well, whatever wisdom Pedro imparted, I think Willie's passing it along now. And the slider, did he go? No. 1-2.
The Groundhog Day over there with Buckner. Same call.
Hey, Ronnie, is it possible that Willie is asking Pedro for advice on who might be ready to go in a situation like this out of the bullpen? Is that a stretch?
I think that's a stretch. I think that in that situation, maybe they might be discussing what he saw maybe in Perez that he thought was a little different from the last start. Why he thought he struggled tonight with his control and the hit batters.
I agree. Rick Peterson is the one he'll go to on the bullpen. He's the captain of the pitching staff, or the major.
Taking on water. 1-2. Slider misses away to Trainer. 2-2.
I think when you see a manager that close to the pitching coach, they are talking through the game. They're trying to different scenarios, who they would like to use against certain hitters. Completed.
I think Willie wants 3 innings out of El Duque if he can get it.
Well, a quick inning would help here. 2-2. And a high fly ball to left field. That's deep. Back goes Alou. Back onto the track. Back at the wall. It's out of here. Matt Trainer with his 4th home run of the year, and it's 7-3 Florida. Second home run of the night for the Marlins, their 201st of the year. This is not a guy you expect to hit home runs, but Trainer takes El Duque deep, and the Marlins for the first time tonight have opened up a 4-run lead.
Well, that was unexpected, and I look at El Duque hit my fastball.
Now Brett Carroll with 1 out and nobody on, and he swings and misses at the curveball, 0-1.
And here it is. Oh, right down the inner half, and Belt wanted it up and in.
Ball carried too.
Sure did. The ball's been carrying big time this whole homestand.
And Carroll waves with the slider, and it's 0-2. Well, while the Mets struggle to pitch here tonight, Cole Hamels is pitching like an ace in Philadelphia. 6 shutout innings and a 3-0 lead as they go to the bottom of the 6th for the Phillies. Oh-2 to Carroll, and it misses away. 1-2 with the pitcher Kim waiting on deck.
That's not that Washington team that just went through here, is it?
It's hard to believe.
Those runs.
Well, they're facing a pretty good pitcher tonight, huh?
Of course.
Swing and a miss, and Carroll down swinging. That's the second out. First strikeout for El Duque. Let's check in with the studio. A City Baseball Night in New York update, and Matt Yellow.
Cole Hamels picked the right night to be an absolute stud. 10 strikeouts through 6. He got Austin Kearns, strikes out the side in the 6th. It's now bottom 6, 3-0 Philly.
All right, Matt, as Kim takes a strike. Let's see, he's thrown 90 pitches in 6 innings. Think they'll let him go out there again? Hamels?
Well, it's very precious cargo there, Gare.
Yeah, but it's kind of an important game.
I would think so.
Kim singled to right, took a call third strike, 1 for 2. And that was not exactly a productive swing.
We've got to see a replay on that swing. Can we get it from the first base camera too? Oh. That better be a pitcher swinging.
And he strikes out to end the inning. But the Marlins tack on a run on Matt Trainor's 4th home run of the year off El Duque. That's a lot of catching up to do. Castillo right, and Beltran coming up 7-3 Florida. PM only on SNY. There's a New York Lottery Mets box score. Carlos Beltran's 2-run homer got the Mets to within a run at 4-3, but now they're down 7-3. Reyes continues to struggle at the top of the order. Sean Green continues to produce at the bottom. Luis Castillo leads off in the home 5th and takes ball 1 from Byung-Hyun Kim. Castillo singled, stole a base, and scored a run in the 3rd. 1 for 2 on the night. Each team with 7 hits, but the Marlins have a 7-3 lead. And it's 2-0 to Castillo.
Well, he's got to throw strikes here.
Looks like a fractured moon.
Right out of an Edgar Allan Poe short story.
Just about everything in the Mets vicinity has been fractured lately.
It'll be the moon for the misbegotten pretty soon.
Very nice.
Telltale heart.
Well, he was going Eugene O'Neill on you.
No, I know. I was staying with Poe.
2-1. Aren't we literary? Castillo fouls it off, and it's 2-2. Byung-Hyun Kim looking for his 10th win of the year. That's certainly had some good swings against him and had some positive counts. They just need to do a whole lot more scoring tonight. 3-2 now to Castillo. Getting Castillo aboard to start this inning would certainly help.
Kim trying to fake out the Castillo with a double windup there, and not even close.
3-2 to Louis, and he bounces it foul.
Ooh. Tough pitch to lay off right there. Ball 4 was a slider inside.
How about that pitch choice? 7-3, 3-2 to Castillo.
Unbelievable.
Slider.
Left center field. Carroll cutting over, diving, can't get it. It'll roll to the wall. Castillo to second. They'll take the turn. Try for 3. Ramirez with the relay throw. Not in time. That's pushing the envelope. Castillo's 5th triple of the year. You take a chance when you try and stretch for 3 with nobody out, but Castillo made it work.
Nice effort there by Carroll. Now watch the relay here. Uggla's not telling, he's a trailer here. It's his job to tell Ramirez 3-3-3. There's a little bit of a delay here on the relay throw. Ramirez was like caught asleep. And there's your difference.
So now runner at 3rd and nobody out. The infield back for David Wright. And he grounds one toward the middle. That'll get the run in as Ramirez makes the play to get Wright for the first out. Castillo scores, and now it's 7-4 Florida. So Wright drives in his 106th run of the year to get the Mets an inch closer. So Castillo stretches it into a triple. That pays off in a run. And now here's Beltran, who crushed a 2-run homer his last time up. They estimated the distance on Beltran's homer at 450 feet off the bottom of the Budweiser sign in the middle of the scoreboard.
Well, it was a bomb.
Oliver Perez back in the dugout. It was a rough night for him.
Don't throw it.
One to Carlos. Grounds it foul, and it's 1-2. Now Beltran now with 33 home runs. He had 41 last year to tie a Mets club record. 111 RBIs. Moises Alou with the Nets. Mets have now hit the Marlins 8-7, but they trail 7-4. We're only in the 5th inning. Just inside with the fastball, 2-2.
And Kim thought he had him struck out right there, and I think he did. My goodness, here we are. Man, it's close, Ron. You'd want that one, wouldn't you, RJ?
Of course.
Ed Hickok's not giving Black. 2-2. Change up, bloop to shallow left. In comes Ross. And that's the second out. So 2 away. And now Moises Alou. Alou has been up twice. Both times he's flied out to right field. Last night his 30-game hitting streak came to an end. And he pops this one foul back into the crowd. Rockies are on the board. 3-1. Diamondbacks with a lead with Brandon Webb on the mound. Colorado's won 11 in a row. 0-2 to Alou. Well, the Mets getting a little spiritual assistance tonight. You take help any way you can get it this time of year.
They know they're on camera. Great.
1-2 to Alou. Carlos Delgado on deck. Mets have a run home here in the 5th. They've been behind right from the start of this game. 2-2. Jeremy Hermida, 2-run first inning home run. The Mets cut it to 2-1. Marlins got 2 in the 3rd on a pair of bases loaded hit batsmen to make it 4-1. Beltran's homer made it 4-3. 2 in the 4th and 1 in the 5th, but the Marlins up 7-3, and a run for the Mets in the 5th made it 7-4. Mets have already used 3 pitchers tonight, and Young-Hyun Kim, who'd made 4 prior starts against the Mets in his career and lost every single one of them, trying to get the out he needs to qualify for a win as a starter tonight, at a time when the Mets are hard pressed. 3-2. The Mets have lost 7 straight home games. Does anybody even remember the last time they won a home game? It was against the Braves. It's a long time ago.
Who got the win that day?
2.5 weeks ago. I think it was Moda, actually. It was right before the Phillies came in and swept the Mets and cut the lead and started to present the scenario that has fallen down from the sky on the Mets' heads over the last 2 weeks. 3-2 to Alou. Hit on the ground to 3rd. Grabbed by Cabrera. Wide throw, but a good stretch by Jacobs to end the inning. Castillo's leadoff triple gives the Mets a run, but they're still down 7-4 as we go to the 6th. That's 2 chances every weeknight to laugh along with the funniest family on TV. Don't miss Family Guy weeknights on the CW11. I think you got one of your Tootsie Pops, Keith.
Oh, cute kid.
Andy Ramirez takes a strike from El Duque, who begins his 2nd inning of work.
By the way, is Ramirez up every inning, or just about, right? 4 times in 6 innings?
I believe that's a rule. 2 for 3 tonight, and he takes high.
He scored 2 runs, a double. He's led off No, let off the beginning of the game only, but he's been in the middle of those 2 2-run innings. 3 of the 2 2-run innings.
Ramirez now with 211 hits. That leads the league. And the slider misses 2 and 1.
An impressive young man.
He drives one deep to center. Beltran is going to watch this sail over his head and hop over the wall or off the wall as Ramirez pulls into second base. That was hit like a bolt by Ramirez. So a leadoff double for Hanley Ramirez, his 3rd hit of the night. And as Dan Ugla comes up, let's check in with the studio. A Baseball Night in New York update and Matt Yellow.
All right, bottom of the 6th, Phillies with runners on the corners and 1 out. Cole Hamels up. Cole Hamels. Ground ball. Washington looking to turn 2. They get 1 at second. The throw to first. Wide. 4-0 Phillies. They score 1 there. We're going top 7 for Rock.
I didn't notice that Nationals making a play like that here at Shea.
Neither did I.
Maybe I missed it. Every time they needed to double play, they did.
Gosh, would you bunt here? With your 30 home run number 2 hitter? I guess not. And Ugla's not one to get runners over. And I guess it's late in the year and you're in last place.
Well, he's been on base 3 times tonight with a hit batsman, a walk, and a single. And he scored 3 runs. And he pops it up, so he does not move the runner. Wright taking charge, and that's the first out.
I didn't think he would.
So 1 away. Ramirez still at second, and now here's Jeremy Hermida, who hit the 2-run homer back in the first inning to put the Marlins in front, and they have not trailed tonight.
Jeremy Hermida.
Good time to watch Ramirez here after the pop-up. Tough hitter in Hermida. Pitcher's concentration's on the batter. Might try to surprise him here on first pitch, right off the bag at 3rd.
51 steals on the year for Hanley Ramirez, 3rd in the league behind Reyes and Juan Pierre. And a curveball in for a strike. You know that Reyes has gone 12 straight games without stealing a base. He's been stuck on 78 for almost 2 weeks.
Yes, he has. Well, you don't want Ramirez to steal 3rd base. You've got your red-hot left-hand hitter here in Hermida, followed by one of the best hitters in the game in Cabrera. You don't want to run yourself out of an inning here.
Reyes keeps an eye on him, and Hermida takes the fastball high, 2-1. Orlando Hernandez did great work for the Chicago White Sox in postseason coming out of the bullpen 2 years ago. They had such great starting pitching in that postseason. They didn't need a whole lot of bullpen help, but El Duque had that one great effort against the Red Sox, in which he worked out of the bases loaded jam, wound up working 3 innings in relief, and really saved the White Sox bacon in that series.
Pretty good pitch, 2-1 there. You don't want to, he doesn't want to walk Hermida. He wants to get Hermida, and I think he'll be able to end with the open base, Ronnie, to pitch Cabrera really carefully, and I think he'll pick his poison with Cody Ross. Take his chances more with Ross than Cabrera, obviously.
Takes a look at second, but nobody covering.
He's thrown Hermida a couple of curveballs, a couple of fastballs up. Has not thrown that changeup.
For the Ephus. I don't think he's going to throw the Ephus run.
No, not here.
2-2 to Hermida. Line to short, caught by Reyes, and good base running by Ramirez to get back. 2 away.
Well, Reyes playing perfectly. And I think because of Ramirez being on base, him holding him tight, the Mets got a little fortunate there. Ball wasn't hit hard. It was a soft liner.
And now the Mets will walk Cabrera intentionally and pitch instead to Cody Ross.
And I couldn't agree more.
It's all the way you drew it up.
Hermida was the big out.
So Cody Ross will get an opportunity with 2 on and 2 out, with the Marlins leading 7-4 here in the top of the 6th.
I just think if I was Freddie Gonzalez trying to play the spoiler here, even with Uggla's 30 home runs, I'd have put the sacrifice on and got the winner to third.
Well, Shea Stadium has not exactly been a home field advantage of late. In fact, the Mets are the only team in the majors that has a better road record than home record, but lately it's just been ugly here. 3 straight losses to the Phillies, 3 to the Nationals, 1 to the Cardinals, 7 straight losses at home, and look at the ERA in a pitcher's ballpark.
That's scary going into potential playoffs with that ERA.
Well, they'd be thrilled to get to the playoffs right now. Right now they're just trying to survive tonight. There's an 86 championship shirt.
I'd love to get my hands on that shirt.
Well, he's wearing it.
Maybe you could pull it right off his back.
Find out where he's parked.
San Diego, by the way, is tied at Milwaukee 2-2 in the 4th. That's not good news for the Mets. Cody Ross 0 for 2. He's been hit by a pitch to drive in a run. 2 on and 2 out, and the slider misses well outside. And you see the San Diego score. Chris Capuano, who hasn't won in a dog's age, pitching for the Brewers, who are desperate tonight. The Cubs are leading their game 4-0 in the 8th. So if Chicago wins and Milwaukee loses, the Central race is over. Fastball call strike 1-1.
Cody looking for a curveball. Fastball to hit.
Ramirez at second, Cabrera at first with 2 down. Duque working his second inning of relief. He gave up a run on a home run by Trainer in the 5th. And Ross takes the slider off the plate, 2-1. The pitcher spot for the Mets is due up 4th when they come to bat in the bottom of the 6th. So this may well be Duque's last inning. He's thrown 35 pitches so far. 2-1 to Ross, and the slider bends in for a strike. 2-2. Hardest slider that time.
Good pitch by Duque. They're still into it.
He's going to Buffalo on Sunday. Up and away, and now a full count to Ross.
And he wanted that fastball away for the out pitch, Ron, and he missed it.
So now the runners will take off. Mike Jacobs on deck. 3-2 and 2 down. 7-4 Florida, 6th inning. Payoff to Ross. Curveball pulled foul. So he went with the 3-2 hook.
Well, he can try to paint him away again. Can use that slider. I think the thing you'll stay away from is that fastball in. That's the pitch that Matt Trainer hit for a home run.
He doesn't want to hang that slider like he did right there. And I think LaDuca's going to go out and have a chat right now. Just say, what do you want to do here? Let's be on the same page.
Ross has got a lot of power. 12 home runs this year. And only 167 at bats. We saw him hit 3 in a game against the Mets down in Florida last year. Time is getting tight. Curveball missed, ball 4. And the bases are loaded. Let's make a quick check into the studio. Baseball Night in New York update, and Matt Yallo.
Yeah, it's all about pitching and defense in Philadelphia. Jesus Flores to center field. Just enjoy Aaron Rowan's defense. Almost loses his wrist. Makes the catch. 11 strikeouts for Hamels through 7 shutout innings. 4-0.
Don't believe any Met fan exactly enjoyed watching Aaron Rowan's defense.
I tell you what, Matt better get a bodyguard on his way home tonight.
Well, Willie Randolph's on his way out to the mound. He's got the left-hander up in the bullpen, and it looks like he's going to go to Schoenweiss here to pitch to Mike Jacobs. Schoenweiss has been very effective of late. Will come on for El Duque. A leadoff double by Ramirez, an intentional walk to Cabrera, a walk to Ross, loading the bases with 2 down. So El Duque went an inning and 2/3, and it's now up to Schoenweis to get the Mets out of a 6th inning jam. Mets already down 7-4, not giving up. Scott Schoenweis brought on to try and get the Mets out of a bases-loaded jam in the 6th.
He's unscored upon in 20 of his 27 appearances since the All-Star break, and he has retired 50 of the 69 first batters he has faced.
Hanley Ramirez at third, Miguel Cabrera at second, Cody Ross at first, and Mike Jacobs, who was 0 for 2 tonight, will come to bat with the bases full. The Marlins have already left the bases loaded once in this game. Schoenweis pitched 2 nights ago against Washington and pitched a terrific 1-2-3 inning. And of all the Met relievers over the last couple of weeks, you'd have to say Schoenweis has probably fared the best.
He's been right there, getting big outs and coming in with men on base and getting the big out. And this is a huge, huge at bat right here.
Bases loaded, 2 down. Florida 7, Mets 4, top of the 6th. Jacobs has had a good year hitting against lefties. And he swings and fouls off the first fastball. Schoenweis early in the year pitched well on the road but struggled at Shea. You can see the numbers for Jacobs. Much better against lefties this year than in the past. And he pulls it on the ground to second, right at Castillo. So Schoenweis comes out of the bullpen and gets a king-sized out in the top of the 6th. Now the Mets come up in the bottom of the 6th, still down by 3 with Delgado to lead off.
Mets trailing the Marlins by 3. We head to the bottom of the 6th inning here at Shea. It'll be very interesting to see if the Mets can muster a comeback tonight. Last night, admittedly, they were tight in the clubhouse afterwards. They said as much. Today, a much different feel. It's almost as if blowing the lead calmed them down. Maybe that was all the pressure. We'll find out how they react back upstairs to you guys.
Carlos Delgado leading off the home 6th inning. Byung-Hyun Kim still out there throwing. Delgado tonight has been hit by a pitch and singled to left. Hit it right where the third baseman normally plays, but they've got the overshift on again. And it goes all the way to the backstop, 2-0. Ryan Howard has hit a 2-run homer, his 45th.
Called for the bench, Byung-Hyun Kim. Sorry, Gary. I just talked. I apologize for that. Call for the trainer, call to the bench.
You see the Padres got 3 to go ahead, 3-2. A Corey Hart homer has tied that game. Looking at his finger like there's a blister there.
Oh, jeez.
Well, he was leaving, but now he's back on the mound. Well, while he tries to figure out if he can stay in the game, let's check in with the studio and Matt Yallo.
Putting this thing away in Philadelphia, Ryan Howard with a man on and a 4-0 lead. I'll give you one guess. How about home run number 45? This one the opposite way, 6-0 Philadelphia in the 7th.
Well, last year's MVP hits his 45th. Byung-Hyun Kim says he can't go, so he's handed Freddie Gonzalez the baseball. And the Marlins are going to make a pitching change here in the 6th inning. Nobody was warming up, so whoever does come in the game will get as much time as they need to get themselves loose, with Kim leaving with an apparent, I would assume, blister problem from the way he was looking at his fingers. So whoever comes on will inherit a 2-0 count to Delgado as the Mets try and come back in the bottom of the 6th, down 7-4. The bottom of the 6th, and now Byung-Hyun Kim leaving because of injury. Taylor Tankersley taking over for him. The Phillies are up big on the Nationals, 6-0 in the 7th inning in Philadelphia, and every bit of pressure now right squarely on the Mets.
Well, it is, and another uneven effort from Oliver Perez in a big game. I mean, it's just hard for your team when there's 7 runs on the board, it seems, each and every night, and could not get to Byung-Hyun Kim. He's the only pitcher I think I've ever seen that you feel bad that you didn't get more runs off him, and you got 4 and 5 innings. But now Tankersley on for the Marlins.
Well, once again, I just think the Met pitching has not been up to it, and I mean, they've been the culprit here. The Mets have been hitting with Perez, not a good performance tonight. The 3-hit batsman on a big game that you needed to win. Philly up in front right now, 6-0. They're not going away. It looks like they're not going to lose. So this is a big inning right here. I mean, it's a big game for the Mets. They're down to their last 9 outs.
Well, if they don't win tonight, you assume the Phillies are going to. The Mets will no longer control their own destiny, something they've been able to say that they've had on their side since the middle of May. And all of a sudden, if you put it into other people's hands, that completely changes the dynamic.
Yeah, I think you have to simplify it. They're only down 3 runs. This is Sandy Koufax out here. And just go after it bit by bit. Maybe get a run in this inning, get them late. I mean, this is well within their reach, and the way they've been hitting the ball, they are in not great shape, but they're in good shape. They have a chance.
Well, if they come back from this ball game and win this game, it'll be a come-from-behind victory, which would be a real shot in the arm.
Yeah, that could snowball, too.
Well, the Mets' biggest comeback of the year has been from 4 runs down. That's what they're trying to do here. They were down 7-3. Now it's 7-4. And they'll try and get it done against Taylor Tankersley, who's getting as long as he needs to warm up. Meanwhile, we'll answer our Aflac trivia question. Who holds the Mets record for most doubles in a season at Shea? It is Greg Jeffries. 26 in 1990. The overall record for Mets for doubles in a season is 44 by Bernard Gilkey. You see where David Wright stands on that doubles at Shea list.
Well, Taylor Tankersley, the last time he appeared in a game was Wednesday in Florida against the Cubs. Gave up a double to Cliff Floyd. The left-handers he's handling at 184 average. His grandfather, Earl Tankersley, pitched for the St. Louis Browns.
How about that?
His father was merely a nuclear physicist.
I bet you Arthur Richmond knew Earl Tankersley.
That's right.
Arthur used to travel with the Brownies.
So here's Delgado, 2-0 count. If this at-bat results in a walk, it would be charged to Kim. Any other result charged to the relief pitcher. Tankersley been very tough on lefties this year. Delgado's been on base twice with a hit batsman and a single tonight. And he hits the first pitch right to the shortstop. They didn't have the overshift on, and so Ramirez was in just the right spot to throw out Delgado. Tankersley throws 1 pitch and gets 1 out.
Well, the right way to defense Delgado against the left-handers, he tends to go a little bit more up the middle. And they had it scouted out.
Aaron Howman up in the Mets bullpen. If the Mets get anybody on here in the 6th inning, the pitcher's spot will come up. So here's Loduca, who's 0 for 2. He's flied out twice. Young-Hyun Kim went 5 innings, allowed 8 hits, 4 runs, 3 of them earned, no walks, 2 strikeouts. He hit a battery, allowed a home run, and he's in line for his 10th win of the year. Sean Green waiting on deck. Each team with 8 hits tonight. But the Mets down by 3 runs. And Loduca takes it wide. 2-0.
Tankersley, Ronnie, from the stretch. Well, he always pitches from the stretch, obviously. It's like he picks up his target late.
Yeah. Picks up his target late, and it looks like he has this whole mental process that he goes through before he can deliver the pitch. A lot of elite pitchers are like that. They have a 1-2-3 approach.
And it's high and off the middle trainer, 3-0.
If you notice, he'll stare right at the first base bag. That's trying to keep that front shoulder closed. And at the last minute, then pick up the target. That, to me, you do whatever you do, but too late to pick up the target.
Well, he's got to throw strikes here. Come back. Can't give a free pass with a club with a 3-run lead.
3-0 to Loduca. And he walked him on 4 pitches. So the Mets have a 1-out base runner, the first walk they've drawn tonight. And now Sean Green will come up against the left-hander. Lately, Sean's been hitting everything. 2 for 2 tonight. His average up to 293 for the season.
Well, he's had a great September.
Ross Wolf, the right-hander, up in the Florida bullpen. The bullpen's been pretty taxed the last few days. Jeff Conine up, getting ready to pinch hit with the pitcher's spot due next. And Green takes the fastball in tight. That's 5 in a row out of the strike zone from Tankersley.
And this is what you get from Tankersley. He can be spot on, come and have a great appearance, and then the next time around be all over the place.
The hole open on the right side as they hold against LaDuca, and the fastball let her high, or maybe a little higher.
Sean Green never wanted to moan and groan at a call, but he thought this one was high. Look at his reaction.
I'd agree with him, and I also think that hitters hate when a pitcher is all over the strike zone, missing it pitch after pitch, and then the umpire gives him a pitch.
Ed Hickox, the home plate umpire, gave Tankersley that one, and it's 1-1. He had a check swing on a slider, and he went around. It's 1-2.
A good slider here from Tankersley. Down, late break, good block by Trainer.
So now Sean finds himself behind in the count, 1-2. And the slider misses, and another stop by Trainer, 2-2.
Nice stop by Trainer there. Not an easy play.
Diamondbacks have added a run in Colorado. They lead 4-1 in the 6th. San Diego and Milwaukee 3-3 in the 5th. Phillies 6-0 over the Nationals in the 7th. All games of import to the Mets. 2-2 to Green. And he lays off that one. Can't be stopped by Trainer, and into second goes LaDuca. So 3 straight bouncing sliders, and Trainer couldn't stop the third.
Well, no chance here, and getting ahead of Sean, and not even close with 3 straight breaking balls.
Well, if Green can get on, the Mets will get the tying run at the plate. Jeff Conine standing on deck. You got the right-hander up in the bullpen. So this might be Tankersley's last batter. There's Wolf. 3-2 to Green, who's fought his way back into this at bat. Right back to the pitcher, and Tankersley makes the play for the second out. Now Green's been consistently hitting the ball up the middle, and Tankersley able to flag that one down. Now Jeff Conine will pinch hit, and we'll see what the Marlins do. Again, the Mets bench limited tonight by the absence of Marlon Anderson, sitting out the back end of a 2-game suspension at the worst possible time. Could have taken the suspension when he first was imposed last week, but they elected to appeal. The appeal was turned down, and so no Marlin tonight against the Marlins. So they'll leave Tankersley in to face Conine. 2 out and LaDuca at second. And Conine takes a strike.
Conine's had a tough time since coming over from Cincinnati. In a tough role as a pinch hitter, hasn't played much, but he is very dangerous and has pop.
2 for 7 as a pinch hitter with the Mets. 11 for 29 overall this year. Those are great pinch hitting numbers, most of that with Cincinnati. And he skips out of the way of the slider. 1-1.
Of course, Jeff has been on a world championship team. He's been in stretch runs as a veteran. You look at Jose Reyes.
Played with 2 world champions with the Marlins, 97 and 03. Aaron Howman set to pitch in the 7th inning. 1-1 to Conine with Reyes on deck. 2-1. Now Conine trying to fight his way aboard any way he can to get that tying run to the plate. Tankersley's 2-1, and Conine hits it in the air to shallow left. Ross coming on, and that retires the side. So Tankersley comes on for the injured Kim, gets the Mets out without a hit. It's on to the 7th, still 7-4 Florida. Seeing a 1-game playoff on Monday, and most of you said, of course, Pedro, although he'd be going on 3 days rest, so that's not a particularly likely scenario. But thanks for voting anyway. Aaron Howman comes on to pitch the 7th inning for New York.
He had a nice inning last night's ball game against the Cardinals. Strikeout in that inning. ERA in the last 24 innings is shot down all the way to 1.88. But again, because of the inability of Oliver Perez, this bullpen called on to get 16 more outs again tonight.
Absolutely.
Perez went 3 2/3, allowed 6 runs and 6 hits, hurt himself by hitting 3 batters. Sosa got an out. El Duque worked an inning and 2/3, gave up a run. Schoenweiss got a huge out when he came on with the bases loaded in the 6th. And now Howman, the 5th Met pitcher of the night. Matt Trainer hit the home run off El Duque for the 7th Florida run. And Trainer leads off the 7th and takes a fastball for a strike. Trainer to the number 7 hitter, Brett Carroll on deck, and then the pitcher spot. They've gone to the 8th in Philadelphia. Phillies 6, Nationals nothing.
Gary, did Hamels go through 7? Did he pitch the 7th?
Hamels not only pitched the 7th, he batted in the bottom of the 7th, and he's pitching in the 8th.
Where stars are born, these kind of games.
Too important.
Well,
that Philly bullpen needs a rest just as much as the Met bullpen.
Well, they needed Hamels to be an ace tonight, and he has been exactly that. The Mets needed Perez to be an ace, and he was not. And Hamels still out there in the 8th inning. 1-2 to Trainer. Howman pitching for the 3rd straight night. And Trainer hits one down to first. Delgado snags it. 1 away. So 1 out and nobody on, and now the rookie center fielder Brett Carroll has gone 0 for 3 tonight. Carroll playing because Josh Willingham still has a bad back and probably will not start this weekend. Although where the Marlins in different circumstances, there's a possibility he might. Well, there is still nothing decided in the National League in this final weekend, but the National League Central is moving closer to completion. The Chicago Cubs have a 6-0 lead in Cincinnati as they go to the 9th inning. Home runs tonight by Soriano and Derek Lee, and shutout pitching by Carlos Zambrano. So if the Cubs win that, their magic number will be down to 1. And they could clinch tonight if Milwaukee loses at home against San Diego. 2-0. And Carroll swings and fouls it off. 2-1. Matt Lindstrom, the hard-throwing right-hander, up in the Florida bullpen. Two and 1. Bounce down to 3rd, giving ground is right. Makes the long throw on a hop, and he got him. Not sure if David intended to bounce that or not, but Delgado was able to handle it for the 2nd out.
Well, can't call this a strong throw, but if you're going to run it that short, give your first baseman a long hop. I don't think this was planned. Probably had the bad grip. Got the out anyway.
So 2 out and nobody on. And now Alejandro De Aza will bat for Taylor Tankersley. De Aza, who won the center field job for the Marlins in spring training and promptly got hurt the first week of the season, has really struggled at the plate since coming back from an ankle injury that cost him more than half the year. Remember that ball that Beltran caught against the fence in left center in Florida on Sunday? That ball was hit by De Aza. He hit a long way to left center, left-hand batter. Marlins 7, Mets 4. 7th inning. Mets allowed the top of the order coming up in the bottom of the inning, and boy, did they need Reyes to get off the schneid and get something started. Lined into right field, a base hit for De Aza. So the Marlins have a 2-out base runner. And Hanley Ramirez will come up for the 5th time.
The shortstop, Hanley Ramirez.
Ramirez is already 3 for 4 tonight, a single and 2 doubles. He scored 2 runs, now has 212 hits for the year. Start of the day, 3rd in the National League in batting. And he is making himself a run the last weekend at a batting title in his 2nd season. Chipper Jones began the night leading the league at .339. Matt Holliday .338. And Ramirez with his 3 hits tonight up to .335. It would take quite a weekend for him, and he's off to a good start. And he lines one foul down the right field side.
He's a big kid. He's around 6'3". When I walked by him as he was getting into his car in the parking lot in Florida, of course, I felt dwarfed again.
You lost a half inch.
You're getting a lot smaller as you get older, aren't you?
I'm getting a complex. These guys are just getting bigger and taller and leaving me behind.
He's just a shortstop. Fouled at the plate. That one caught LaDuca, and that stunned him.
Almost looked like it caught him in the toe.
Oh, knee. And that hurts. You think that's all protected there, but that's a real vulnerable spot for a catcher, even though he's protected. If you look at Ramon Castro, I'm sure has had his share of experiences with that kind of foul tip, and he's hurting.
Castro's looking for his equipment.
LaDuca's not coming out.
No, he'll stay in there.
Now, ever since he cut his hair, Gary, it's reminded me of. I've been trying to put my finger on it, but Saving Private Ryan, it looks like Tom Sizemore and a sergeant in that movie. He's hard-nosed.
He's got the good sneer going there. He'll tough it out. Don't know if LaDuca is going to be back in a Mets uniform next year. But if he's not, they will miss that grit.
I agree with you. He's all right. I've been through this before, he's saying.
Even if he's not all right, he's not going anywhere.
No.
So Heilman will go back to work on Ramirez ahead of the count 0-2.
Got to be careful as a pitcher here as you see this foul tip. Heilman has not thrown a ball. Make sure with this pitch. There, that's a good thing to do. Hasn't thrown a pitch to the plate. LaDuca's back there trying to get ready to get back. Good. Fire one over the first. At least you got a little feel for the ball.
Plus, it's 0-2 with 2 outs. It's a good time to steal. If you get thrown out, you got top of the order in the 8th inning.
And Heilman takes another look. Diaz is not a real base stealer. He has only 1 for the year. Marlins 7, Mets 4, 7th inning. Well, Hamels breezed through the top of the 8th. 6-0 Phillies now in the bottom of the 8th. There goes De Aza. LaDuca makes the throw, and clearly his knee is hurting. He comes up limping as he released that ball. And that really hurt him again.
Good pitch to throw on. And you don't have the foundation. It's tough. It's tough to make the throw, strong throw.
He just didn't seem to have any stability on that left leg as he took that stride.
It's a Mackey Sasser throw. Watch out as it's coming through the box.
So now runner in scoring position. De Aza's second stolen base of the year. 1-2 to Hanley Ramirez, who has 81 RBIs. Batting mostly leadoff. And he dribbles one foul as chunks came off his bat. And it's still 1-2.
That thing broke off with the handle. And that's a sliver. Excuse me.
I don't know if we can see De Aza at second base. Well, go ahead, Chief.
Well, not a strike, a changeup, but good hitters find a way. You can see it. It's a sliver of that bat. Shaving of it.
So if I was out there, De Aza at second base, he is could be a possible victim, getting a huge lead.
Yep.
Look at that.
1-2 to Ramirez.
Struck him out with a fastball. Aaron Heilman finished the inning with a flourish. Gets Hanley Ramirez. It's seventh inning stretch time. Mets on the top of the order coming up.
Mets Weekly, Saturday at noon, exclusively on SNY. The former Met farmhand Matt Lindstrom brings his fireball into the game.
Yeah, he was involved in that trade, of course, for Adam Bostic, Henry Owens, the Marlins. He and Henry Owens went over to Florida. Adam Bostic and Jason Vargas. Sorry about that.
He's only given up 2 home runs on the year.
Mets need Reyes to get on. He's 0 for his last 11. And Reyes takes a fastball for a strike.
Well, one thing about Lindstrom, he throws hard.
I like him too. He comes right at you.
San Diego just went in front of Milwaukee 4-3 in the 6th. Old foul. 0-2.
Good hook, Ron.
Late breaker.
You like to hear what Cole Hamels did in 8 innings tonight?
Sure. I heard he struggled, didn't he?
No runs, 6 hits, 1 walk, 13 strikeouts. Talk about a coming out party for an ace in a huge spot. 6-0 Phillies in the bottom of the 8th. 0-2 to Reyes. Lifted foul. Still 0-2.
The kid has a chance to put some. He's Cy Young one year. That's how good his stuff is.
So it would certainly behoove the Mets to find themselves a rally or 3 in these last 3 innings. Reyes, Castillo, and Wright trying to get it done against Lindstrom here in the bottom of the 7th. 7-4 Florida. Reyes 0 for 3 tonight. Too high, 1-2.
Yeah, going up the ladder there.
Taylor Tankersley did a nice job in the 6th inning after Byung-Hyun Kim left. Kim went 5 innings, allowed 8 hits, and is in line for the win. 1-2 to Reyes. Breaking ball foul. To Reyes, and he struck him out. Lindstrom fans Reyes one away. Let's check in with the studio of Baseball Night in New York update and Matt Yallo.
They're in the bottom of the 8th in Philadelphia, still 6-0. Cole Hamels has put on a show. 8 innings of work, 6 hits allowed, no runs, and 13 strikeouts. 6-0 Phillies, bottom 8. Ryan Howard at that.
All right, thanks, Matt. And it's a final in Cincinnati. The Cubs have beaten the Reds 6-0, so the Cubs' magic number is down to 1 for winning the National League Central. Here's Castillo, 2 for 3 tonight, a single and a triple. He scored 2 runs, and he takes up and away from Lindstrom. There's your Central race up to the moment. Brewers trailing at home against San Diego 4-3 in the 6th. The Brewers' loss would clinch that division for the Cubs. 1-0 to Castillo with 1 out. And it goes to the backstop. Is there any way to characterize or try and figure out what has befallen Jose Reyes this last month of the season? He's just a different player.
Well, he's stopped hitting. And I mean, he's not well into his 30s where he should be tired. It's just a disappointing year for him, a disappointing finish. It's the wrong time to slump. It happens to great hitters. But he's just slumped badly this last, 6 weeks? Actually, 2 months?
But especially the last month. And it seems to have affected other parts of his game, too.
He seemed a step slower sometimes on defense. I think he's eschewed the bunt, which was a big part of his game. That would be a nice thing to do against Cabrera at third base, who doesn't move that well.
3-1 to Castillo.
Throws a 2-1 changeup with a 3-run lead. That is just a poor choice. You just got to take your chance. You can't walk Cabrera. Castillo. It's always a learning process. We're talking about Jose, and you're right. His offense, for the first time in his career, he's taken out on the field with him. It's affected his defense a little bit. It's affected his base running.
3-1 to Castillo with Wright on deck, and he takes a strike. He was taken all the way there, trying to get on base any way he can. Well, you got Wright and Beltran to follow. If Castillo can get on, let's have a chance to do some damage here in the 7th.
He's got to go after him here, not get cute.
3-2 to Castillo. Slapped on the ground past Cabrera. Ramirez has it, makes the throw, not in time. Castillo beat it out.
Well, no idea why Cabrera is playing in with 2 strikes, and there's your difference in that being a base hit and an out. He's playing at the cut of the grass with 2 strikes, and this ball gets over his head as a result.
It's the 3rd hit of the night for Luis Castillo. And so the Mets with a base runner with 1 out.
Well, great hustle, and he's got the tender knee, and he busted down that line.
So now here's Wright, 1 for 3 on the night. Drove home a run with a ground out his last time, up 106 RBIs for the year. Beltran to follow. And David swings and lines a base hit into right field. Castillo will go first to third, and the Mets will get the tying run to the plate with Beltran coming up. David Wright with his 2nd hit of the night.
Well, peck away here. Don't try going for the home run. David going the other way beautifully. And this sets up a nice 1st and 3rd for Beltran. And look at Castillo here. He's hurting.
The acting pitching coach for the Marlins, Steve Foster, is at the mound to talk things over with Lindstrom. The Marlins pitching coach all year, Rick Kranitz, was dismissed because he said he wanted to pursue other opportunities next year, so they said go home at the beginning of this week. That's an odd time to be doing that.
Yeah.
So now Beltran. Beltran hit a 2-run homer high off the scoreboard in right center in the 3rd. A long ball here would tie it. And a big cut. 0-1.
Well, it looks like he's cut 2 different fastballs. This looked like a 2-seamer ran down and away to Carlos Beltran.
Well, and that's with a golden opportunity to close the gap, if not tie it up.
1st and 3rd and 1 out. Grounded down to first, foul. 0-2. Castillo at 3rd, Wright at 1st and 1 out. The Mets need to at least get a run out of this here in the bottom of the 7th. Lindstrom ahead 0-2. And Beltran swings and misses at the changeup, and that's the second out of the inning.
Well, I'll tell you what, Lindstrom has a beautiful changeup.
Just takes enough off, runs it away. And when a guy is throwing 96, 97 miles an hour, he's able to place that changeup 10 miles an hour slower in that position. Just awfully tough.
Well, here is Moises Alou, and the Mets are starting to run out of chances. They set the table with Castillo and right here in the 7th, and now it's left to Alou with 2 out.
Well, this is the right man to have up, and this is Alou's one of the bigger at-bats for him in a Met uniform.
0 for 3 tonight, hitless the last 2 nights after the 30-game hitting streak that electrified Met fans for more than a month.
Well, there's a young slugger. That might be a future Mickey Mantle. Not him.
He doesn't have as much angst as that guy.
Well, I think you want to keep the ball away from Mr. Alou. He's a veteran hitter here. He might be looking for something middle in for 1 strike, Ronnie, to tie this ball game.
Father and son rally caps. First and third and 2 out. Ball 1 to Alou.
Interesting. Trainer setting up inside.
Ooh.
That is dangerous.
Saw that.
Don't care how hard you throw.
Met fans hoping. Alou bounces it foul. Now, Carlos Delgado is on deck. The Marlins wanted to stay away from Reniel Pinto, who's their only other left-hander tonight, so there is no lefty up in the bullpen behind Lindstrom in case Delgado comes up. They've already used Tankersley, who pitched that effective 6th inning. So Lee Gardner, the right-hander, is the guy on call.
And Lee Gardner's been overworked lately, too. I thought they were trying to give Gardner a rest tonight.
All holes off now. All bets off right now.
It's Larry Rothstein.
Can you put that in?
I know Larry.
Oh.
I know Larry.
Matt Lindstrom trying to set down his old organization in a big spot. First and third and 2 out. Alou lays off the slider, and it's 2-1. Boy, Lindstrom has shown a lot of weapons here. A couple of different fastballs, the slider, the changeup.
Let's see if he tries to come back in with the fastball.
At his own peril.
Inside is Alou's happy zone. Bounce foul, 2-2. Back to the bag.
Showed a little presence there. David a stolen base threat.
David has not been getting any kind of a lead tonight. Reyes hoping his teammates can pick him up. Two. Bounce foul. to talk it over with Lindstrom. I guess that's the problem with having too many weapons. Mets can only think right now about how easy this last week of the season might have been. But now every at-bat is crucial. The Phillies have won. It's a final in Philadelphia. Phillies 6, Nationals nothing. Cole Hamels with 8 brilliant innings. And right now the Mets are a half a game behind. 2-2 to Alou. Struck him out with a fastball, 97 miles an hour. Lindstrom fans 3 in the inning, and the Mets are turned aside in the bottom of the 7th. Wow. Shea goes silent as Alou goes down swinging. And now the Mets with only 6 outs to play with, down 7-4. Eighth inning, Dan Uggla leads off against Aaron Howman, who starts his 2nd inning of relief. And Uggla fouls it off. Well, Mets had the proper men on base and the proper hitters at the plate in the 7th, but couldn't crack through against Matt Lindstrom. And now Met fans are left with very little in terms of fingernails left to chew.
Well, I tell you what, Gary, hats off to Matt Lindstrom striking out the side and getting Alou, who is such a tough strikeout and red hot. Boy, with runners on.
Uggla's been on base 3 times tonight and scored all 3 as Howman gets ahead of him with the changeup. Well, the Mets are running out of chances. Chances in this game, chances in this season. It was all there for them. And right now, they are in 2nd place. On the outside corner, strike 3 called. Uggla down looking. 2nd strikeout for Howman. Let's check in with the studio and Matt Yellow.
You mentioned it's over, and it is over. 6-0 the final in Philly. Cole Hamels goes 8. Clay Condrey finishes off the Nationals. The Phillies are a half game up. They play tomorrow against the Nats at 4 p.m. Gary.
That's the early game tomorrow. Let's play at 1, and the Phillies play at 4. Right now, the Mets are only worrying about 10-10 tonight. As a call strike to Jeremy Hermida, who hit the 2-run homer back in the 1st that gave the Marlins the lead, and they've led ever since. They were up 2-0, 2-1, 4-1, 4-3. Then 7-3. Mets got a run in the 5th, but no more. And it's 7-4 as we play the 8th. 0-2 to Hermida. Too many numbers on the top side, and that's been the case this whole homestand. Bounced foul. That pitching, which earlier in the season was carrying the day, carrying it no longer.
Provided so much security early in the season, so much anxiety now.
Tomorrow it'll be John Maine going to the mound, and then Sunday Tom Glavine. 0-2 to Hermida. This is inside. It's 1-2.
Wow, close. Didn't get the call.
Miguel Cabrera looming on deck. And Hermida takes. Where was that?
He's got to be way off the plate. He has just got to be a.
See, Howman snapped right there. You don't see that very often.
What Ed Hickox does.
Oh, just not giving it to him.
Yeah.
Close.
Wow. Two-two. Goes to the outside corner and gets the call. 3rd strike. So 3 consecutive strikeouts now for Howman, and there are 2 away. The street games continue on SNY with Petanque in New York. What is Petanque? Plus lace up the rollerblades for hockey. Street games presented by Pontiac Thursday at 10 p.m. only on SNY.
I saw some bocce ball. But
Petanque? I need an explanation. Dictionary definition, please. Here's Cabrera with 2 out, and he bounces one out for Reyes. Nice big hop. And so Howman with a very nice 1-2-3 inning. Mets with 6 outs to play with. They'll have Delgado, LaDuca, and Green coming up. Down 7-4 as we head to the bottom of the 8th. Lee Gardner comes on to pitch for Florida as we go to the bottom of the 8th inning. After a very impressive inning by Matt Lindstrom, who worked himself out of a jam with a couple of big strikeouts.
Well, the Central Michigan University product, Gardner, that ERA of 1.96. That's the 3rd lowest amongst NL relievers who have pitched at least 70 innings or more.
Gardner, a guy who spent an eternity in the minor leagues and finally getting a chance this year, and he's taken advantage of that chance. Now the Mets will try and take advantage of him as we go to the bottom of the 8th in an increasingly desperate situation.
Well, in between innings, they're playing David Bowie's heroes. The Mets need some heroes here in the last 2 innings.
6 outs.
A loss tonight, and the Mets would fall a game behind the Phillies with 2 games left to play in the season. Delgado's been aboard twice tonight, a hit batsman and a single. He's 1 for 2. And Gardner misses inside. Gardner, the 4th pitcher used tonight by Freddie Gonzalez. Younghoon Kim went the first 5. Tankersley worked a hitless 6th, and Lindstrom a scoreless 7th. LaDuca and Green to follow here in the bottom of the 8th. And there's a strike, 1-1 to Delgado.
And you saw the infield defense, and I agree with this defense. I think the overshift on Carlos is, I like the shortstop right there. I like Ugla where he's at.
Well, he's already got a base hit tonight, hit where a 3rd baseman would normally play. Last time up, he hit one right where the shortstop is now. And it's 1-2 to Carlos as they work him inside.
Freddie Gonzalez getting some great work from his bullpen now. Last 4 games, 12 innings, no runs.
Willie Randolph has not quite had that luxury, although tonight it was the starter. Oliver Perez, so good last Saturday against Florida, but not tonight. Justin Miller up in the Marlins bullpen.
Mets just jumped all over him down in Miami.
On the ground, and another base hit for Delgado, same spot as the first one. They'll take the turn and hold at first as Ross gets it in, and the Mets get the leadoff man on in the bottom of the 8th.
Well, it's an off-speed curveball, back door, outside corner. Watch this. He's pulled, but he kept his hands back. That is just good hitting. Hands back. Already took a stride, but his hands were back, able to get a base hit.
Well, the Mets now have 11 hits in the game. Delgado's had 2 of them, and they've both been hit to the same spot. Now LaDuca is 0 for 2 and a walk. Marlins 7, Mets 4, bottom of the 8th. And the Mets trying to build another rally. And the curveball misses, 1-0.
Mets have left 7 men on base.
Sean Green on deck, and then the pitcher's spot. We've got Gotay and Chavez available as left-handed pinch hitters. And it's taken low, 2-0. Lee Gardner's been very heavily used of late. The Mets hope that they can take advantage of that here in the 8th inning. Two and 0 to LaDuca. He's going to take all the way, and it's a strike. 2-1. And Paul did not necessarily think so. Remember, he took that shot off his left knee a couple of innings ago on a foul ball. Had trouble throwing the ball. Questionable how well he'll be able to run, and he's wearing a guard on the inside of that left knee to protect against a foul ball hitting it here. 2-1. Up foul, and it's 2-2.
LaDuca really limping and also losing his balance. He has no power in that left leg. Watch this.
Well, there's no question he's in pain. Got to shorten up right here. Uggla's like Darryl Strawberry out there in right field in those days. He's just going to dig himself a hole out there in that second base position. He hasn't moved from that spot once with a right-hand hitter. 2 strikes, get over.
2-2 to LaDuca. Curveball hit in the air. Shallow center. Out goes Uggla. In comes Carroll. Uggla called off, and Carroll makes the catch. 1 away. And LaDuca will limp on back to the Mets dugout. Well, trying to gut it out. And it's becoming awfully difficult now. One out and one on for Shawn Green, who's 2 for 3 today. And it's inside, ball 1. Ruben Gotay has come out on deck. The bat for Aaron Howland, who gave the Mets 2 sharp innings of relief. But the Mets need runs.
And there's Mike Jacobs playing behind Delgado, and I think wisely so, but you don't want to give him too much.
And Green takes outside, and now Gardner behind 2-0. Ramon Castro looks like he may be coming in the game, with LaDuca clearly in agony with that left knee. Two and 0 to Green. And Shawn swings and lifts one to left center field. Tony Ross, Brett Carroll, they come together, and Ross makes the catch. Some poor communication there, but the Marlins catch the ball.
For the word. Put it in play and they'll make it an adventure. For the Mets.
Well, the Mets need a break. They didn't get one there. So now 2 out, and here's Ruben Gotay to pinch hit for Aaron Howland. Gotay has done a wonderful job for the Mets this year. 14 pinch hits. If he can get aboard here, he can get Reyes to the plate as the tying run. And a chance for Reyes to overcome all that has befallen him in the last month. Marlins 7, Mets 4, bottom of the 8th. And it's taken low and outside, ball 1. Gotay batting from his better side. And Gardner throws a strike, 1-1.
It's just interesting how the Mets ball club, we've talked about it all year, Gary, not taking enough pitches. Well, they are taking a plethora of pitches down this stretch run.
And the curveball in for a strike. What does that say to you? Does that say that they're tight?
I don't know. I don't think they're. I'm not saying that. I just find it interesting. I'd like it out of your Reyes and Castillo, but not your other hitters. Gotay's pinch hitting here. The rule in pinch hitting is you get a fastball, you got to jump all over. You can't be taken.
Well, now he finds himself in a 1-2 hole with Delgado at first and 2 down. Popped up. Cabrera calling. Side retired. And the Mets are 3 outs away from being a game behind with 2 games to play. It's come down to that for Willie Randolph's team as we go to the 9th. It's on the line at Shea this weekend with the Mets hosting the Marlins. Be a part of it. Go to Mets.com now for your tickets. Mets have a new battery in the game as we go to the 9th. Billy Wagner will pitch, and Ramon Castro will catch.
Well, in a season of milestones for Billy, 1,000th career strikeout. Opponents are only batting .190 against him his career. That's the lowest mark. 358 saves now. It's been rough going of late.
Castro takes over for the injured LaDuca as Cody Ross leads off in the 9th inning, and he pops the first pitch up. Castillo retreating, Beltran coming on, and Beltran makes the call and the catch. 1 pitch and 1 out. So LaDuca forced out of there finally a couple of innings after taking a foul ball off his knee. And what his status will be for the final 2 games of the season remains to be seen. Kevin Gregg, the Marlins closer, returned to action yesterday. He had some tightness in his forearm, pitched well against the Cubs, and back up in the bullpen, ready to try and save it tonight as Jason Wood pinch hits for Mike Jacobs, facing Wagner here in the 9th. So that gives them a right-handed bat and a better glove at first base for the bottom of the 9th. As Wagner throws it to the backstop, 1-0. Mets will have the top of the batting order coming up in the bottom of the 9th. With one more chance. That Trainer on deck. And Wood fouls it away, 1-1. Wagner last pitched in the game here on Wednesday night and came on with the Mets down by a run, 7-6 in the top of the 9th, but gave up 2 runs on a Ryan Church 2-run double that sealed the deal that night for the Nationals. And a slider swung and missed, 1-2. And ultimately, if the Mets do not make it to the postseason, I think it's that game that is going to feel like the game where the Mets really let it slip. They had a 5-0 lead that night. They had a lead in the standings. All they had to do was hold serve. But the Nationals came from behind that night, got the 5 runs in the 5th inning. The Mets never responded the rest of that night, got shut out last night, and then fell behind early tonight. And barring a rally in the bottom of the 9th, they've not been able to get over the hump. 1-2 to Wood. Taken low and inside, 2-2.
Well, it was 2 stunners in a row, back-to-back, within 48 hours, Gary. And it was a game where they built the big lead and couldn't be held. And then the offense doing the job so well. And then Pinheiro coming in and just throwing a gem. That would have beat the 27 Yankees. Maybe.
2-2. Popped up. Wright coming in from third to make the call. And there are 2 out. Well, again, if the Mets do not make it to the postseason, they will talk about leading by 7 games with 17 to play, which has never happened before. No team's ever failed to win their division or their league with that kind of lead. But the fact of the matter is they still had a 2-game lead with 5 to go, and usually that's enough.
I don't think they're going to want to talk about this until they have to next spring.
They may not want to, but everybody else will. Low and inside, 1-0. But it's not over. I mean, even if they lose this game, they'll be a game behind with 2 to play, which only means they have to win their last 2 and hope that Washington wins 1.
Adam Eaton pitching for Philadelphia tomorrow. He's had all kinds of trouble this year.
The problem, of course, for the Mets now is that the Phillies are on a dead roll, and they can smell it now.
And they're hitting.
1-0 to Trainer, up and away, 2-0. Well, they got an ace-like performance out of Cole Hamels tonight. 8 innings, 13 strikeouts, no runs. Miguel Olivo is out on deck to pinch hit. And there's a strike to Trainer.
Now, there's certain pitchers out there, maybe the jury's still out, maybe see if Hamels can stay healthy, but certain pitchers that just say, hey, listen, I've got this game, just score me a couple of runs. And he had that kind of effort tonight.
3-1 now to Trainer.
San Diego got that, 4-3 lead in the top of the 8th.
Well, if they win and the Mets lose, that means the Mets would be 2 out in the wild card. In the air to center field. And right there waiting for it is Beltran. So it's a 1-2-3 inning for Wagner. And here come the Mets, down by 3 with 3 outs to play with. Reyes, Castillo, and Wright trying to get it done in the bottom of the 9th. Visit Geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. by Nissan and the 2007 Nissan Murano. By Corona and Corona Light, the official sponsors of the Timeout. Relax responsibly. And by IO Digital Cable, the leaders in HD in presenting sponsor of the Mets in high definition. Do you see in HD? Barred from 1973. Met fans trying to believe as Jason Wood stays in the game at first base and Kevin Gregg takes over for the bottom of the ninth for the Marlins.
Well, there are only 6 Marlins with 30-plus saves in a season. Now there's 7 with Kevin Gregg getting his 30th save. He has 31 now. He only had 1 save before this year. 31 out of 35 save opportunities.
The Mets have been in first place for 135 straight days. They're 3 outs away from falling out, trying to avoid that fate as they bat in the bottom of the ninth.
Left-handers hitting 162 against Gregg.
Castillo and right to follow. Reyes is 0 for 4 tonight. And now Gregg falls behind 2-0. Reyes is hitless in his last 12 at-bats. It has been a September to forget for Jose Reyes. Trying desperately to get on here.
Oh,
and now it's 3-0.
This will drive a manager crazy. Mets looking for a little life here.
Reyes has to take 1 and maybe 2. There's a strike 3 and 1.
He has to take 2, Gary. You're down 3 runs.
Three and 2. So now Gregg, the former Angel, has run it full. He knows how important this first man is.
He knows how important this game is for the Mets.
3-2 to Reyes. Fouled away. A season so secure, on the verge of slipping to the brink. Three-2. Line, base hit. And Reyes gets it started in the bottom of the ninth. So Reyes, 5th time up the charm.
Well, you don't want to throw Jose in and down and in. Nice hitting. Well, that ensures, well, doesn't ensure, but it gets Beltran to the plate to stay out of a double play.
So now the Mets need 1 more base runner to get the tying run to the plate here in the bottom of the ninth. It's been a big night for Castillo. 3 for 4, 2 singles, a triple, a stolen base, a couple of runs scored. He's got to get on base 1 more time. And he bunts it foul. And Cabrera was in, but Castillo was going to try it anyway.
Almost looked like he tried to bunt that hard past Cabrera.
Almost like one of the Rafael Furcal plays.
Yeah.
Where they'll run up and try and slap it by him. Perez stays in at 3rd. Low and away, 1-1. Kevin Gregg has been battling tightness in his forearm. He missed a week before returning last night. Slap towards short. Ramirez gets the out at 2nd, and that's all. So Castillo at 1st with 1 out. And David Wright coming to the plate.
All right. Stay within yourself. David has done that tonight. He is 2 for 4 with an RBI. He cannot hit a 3-run home run here. So you're shorten up and you continue the rally. A base hit here gets Beltran and Alou up as the tying run.
Uggla again on that mark in the sand you talked about, Keith. plenty of hole between first and second.
Wright went the other way his last time up and drove a base hit to right field. He's 2 for 4 tonight. And the breaking ball in for a strike. Beltran looming on deck. Wright trying to get on to get Beltran up as the tying run. Fouled away, and now Greg ahead 0-2.
Well, Greg wanted to go away there, and I don't know why with that hard sinker he's got, and because he went in, he beat David. I mean, David's been going the other way for the whole month.
Oh, and 2 to right. Ball 1. Bounces in, stopped by Trainer on a hop. 2-2. Now Willie knows the scenario very well. He needs Wright to get on base, give the Mets a chance. They put together a 6-run bottom of the 9th the other night. Two to right. Tapped slowly. Gardner will make the play to first. And now the Mets are down to their final out. Castillo advances to second. But now the Mets have no breathing room. They need Beltran to get on to get Alou to the plate as the tying run. Beltran tonight 1 for 4, hit a long 2-run homer back in the 3rd inning. $55,000 plus, standing almost silently. Hoping they're not watching the season slip away. Ball 1 to Beltran. Alou would be next. Almost no noise in this ballpark.
It is amazing, Gary.
Hope almost gone. One and 1 to Beltran. And now the Mets are down to their final strike. Castillo at second and 2 out. Carlos trying to keep the Mets alive. Pops it up. Wood in foul ground. Ugla comes over, and the ball game is over. And after 135 straight days in first place, the Mets are now in second. One game behind with 2 games to play, and a season that was completely under their control is now out of their control.
Well, ill-timed bad start by Oliver Perez. 6 runs in 3 2/3. And misery has paid a visit to Shea Stadium.
Well, this is a tough loss, and it's compounded with the fact that you slipped out of first place, Gary. You said it. And Philly now is in control of their destiny. Philly, if they win the next 2 games, can't be caught for the first time.
And so the Mets are left with this. They need to win their last 2 games and hope they get some help from the Washington Nationals, because they're getting no help anywhere else. The San Diego Padres are leading their game 6-3 in the bottom of the 8th in Milwaukee, which means not only are the Mets now a game behind the Phillies, but if the Padres win tonight, the Mets will be 2 games behind the Padres with 2 to play for the wild card. And there's the desperate situation the Mets are in. If the Padres hang on and win, and if Arizona hangs on to beat Colorado, that's what the scenario would be. The Mets would be a game behind the Phillies, 2 games behind San Diego, and basically without hope unless they can win 2 and get help from Washington. And that about says it all right there.
Well, Gary, they haven't played well at home all year, and what you would feel would be an advantage coming home for the last week of the season against the 2 lower division teams. And what have they done? They put together a 8-game losing streak at home. It's just, for the life of me, I can't put my finger on it. But you can see the disbelief of the crowd here, and boy, it's not over.
But it sure feels like it is. Yesterday, Pedro Martinez went out and gave them a very strong pitching effort, and the Mets offense could do nothing. Tonight, Oliver Perez went out there, and he was not effective. He had 3 batters in 1 inning. He gave up a 2-run homer in the first inning. The Mets fell behind early and were never able to recover. And so it's the Marlins who hand the Mets their 8th straight home loss and knock the Mets out of first place for the first time since May the 15th. And now with just 2 games to go in the regular season, as you look at the Audi game summary, the Mets are a game behind the Phillies in the National League East, and all they can do is hope to win their last 2 games and hope for help. Otherwise, 2007 is going to come to an historically bad end for the New York Mets. Tomorrow, next to last game of the season, 1 o'clock, the Marlins and the Mets here at Shea. It'll be John Maine on the mound against Chris Seddon. Coming up next is Nissan Postgame Live with Matt Yaloff and Lee Mazzilli. The faces of the Met fans telling the entire story. The Mets season has gotten away from them. Beaten by the Marlins tonight 7-4. Now for Keith Hernandez, Ron Darling, and Kevin Burkhardt, I'm Gary Cohen saying so long from Shea. We'll see you right back out there tomorrow afternoon.